Chapter 2186. 2186 2186 God Lord's Disciple. In the Western region, the Divine Tiger Dynasty and the Divine Frost Sect were considered to be among the top 5 powers. The Divine Tiger Dynasty and the Hu Wen celestial race were united. The current empress of the Divine Tiger Dynasty came from the Hu Wen celestial race. At the same time, this empress was also the strongest expert of the Hu Wen celestial race, an existence at the peak of the deity realm. Even the current Tiger Emperor of the Divine Tiger Dynasty respected his wife very much. A group of more than 20 core disciples were strolling around the Twin Fox continent, buying one item after another. "Little sister, I've benefited from you this time," Hu Ji followed by the side and whispered to Hu Yang. Hee. Hu Yang smiled at him. "Little sister, how can your strength increase so quickly? See if you can get brother-in-law to help me increase my strength in the future," Hu Ji continued to say with a smile. "Brother, what nonsense are you talking about? You know that we are not real." Hu Yang's face turned slightly red as she turned to the side and said, "Hehe, I don't think so. Look at how good that Wang Xian is to you. My little sister is at least a great beauty. Look around you. Out of the 10 men who passed by, 9 of them were attracted to you. They couldn't help but take a second look at you," Hu Ji said proudly. "Is that so?" Hu Yang's eyes flickered. No one knew what she was thinking. "Let's go to the front. There is a famous Daobao area in the Double Fox continent. If we are lucky, we might be able to encounter a powerful divine artifact. I also want to buy some items to prepare for building my own divine kingdom." As Shui Qingliu said that, he walked inside with a smile on his face. The group followed from left to right as they walked forward. In front of them was a bustling street with luxurious shops on both sides. The group strolled along the street. Hu Yang, who had undergone the cleansing of her body and the ancestral tree, now possessed a special constitution. Among the group, she was like a dazzling star that attracted the attention of many wherever she went. Especially for wood element cultivators, her aura made wood element cultivators extremely comfortable. This Ling Hu Yang was slightly uncomfortable and kept her head down. "Hey, big brother, look, that beauty down there." While Hu Yang and the others were strolling on the street, in a restaurant on the 2nd floor near the window, a young man suddenly looked down with shining eyes and said to a young man next to him, "Hey, third brother, what kind of beauty have you not seen before? Make a fuss over nothing." The young man opposite shook his head slightly and said with a smile, "It's not the same. This beauty is really different. Not only is she more beautiful than the one I saw before, the most important thing is her temperament." The young man stared down without blinking and said with burning eyes, "Huh." The young man beside him looked at him in surprise as he curiously looked down. Hey. When he saw Hu Yang below, he was slightly stunned. "It's indeed different." He narrowed his eyes slightly as his eyes flickered with a burning luster. "Let's go down and get to know each other." The young man immediately stood up and walked down. "Oh, big brother, I took a fancy to her first," the young man said with a bitter face and quickly followed. The young men at the side looked at the 2 young masters with a shocked expression. What kind of woman can attract the attention of the 2 young masters of Eternal Twin Fox? They were slightly stunned and immediately stood up to follow behind. "Damn it, I can't get in." At the same time, a vast figure flew out from a divine island at the position of the deity tomb of fallen immortal God Island. She let out a low growl with an embarrassed expression. Her figure moved and floated in the void next to her. "Lord God Lord." 7 or 8 peak God realm experts immediately flew over respectfully from the side and shouted, "Let's go back first." Double Fox God Lord's figure moved and transformed into a beautiful woman filled with majesty. She frowned and said with a somewhat unpleasant expression. Her figure flickered and she flew directly toward Double Fox continent. "Double Fox God Lord has come out. She shouldn't have entered the main God Island. I heard that before we arrived, there were already people who discovered this place. There were also people who entered, but they didn't enter the main God Island. There were at least 1 to 2,000 deity realm experts in the surroundings. When they saw the Double Fox Godlord coming out, All of them were discussing in shock. Hey! In the sky above the Double Fox continent, the Double Fox God Lord flew over with an unpleasant expression. All of a sudden, she sensed a special aura. This aura caused the wood attribute foxtail behind her to move slightly. This situation caused her to be slightly stunned. Her face was filled with astonishment. What treasure attracted me? Her mind moved, and her gaze looked down. When she saw the beautiful figure below, she sensed the aura on her body, and her eyes shot out an intense light. What a terrifying wood attribute energy. What is this? A powerful special wood attribute constitution. There is absolutely no mistake. What a pure wood attribute. If nurtured, the lowest peak of the divine realm can even reach the eternal divine Lord realm. Her eyes revealed a fiery expression. Hello, this beauty. I am Divine Fox Knight. Below, Hu Yang-er's face was filled with astonishment as she looked at the few young men who had suddenly appeared in front of them, frowning slightly. Beside them, Shui Qing Liu and Hu Dongcheng were staring at the few people in front of them with displeasure. But when they heard the name of that young man, they were slightly startled. Divine Fox Knight. Shui Qing Liu's pupils constricted slightly as he muttered in a low voice. Hurry up and pay respects to our young master Yi. A young man beside him shouted indifferently. Shut up. However, just as that young man's words fell, Divine Fox Knight shouted at him lightly. He looked at Hu Yang-er with a smile on his face. I fell in love with you at first sight. I want to get to know you. Divine Fox Knight smiled and stretched out his hand. He spoke very frankly. With his status, there was no need to beat around the bush. Boom. At this moment, a vast light enveloped this place. Divine Fox Knight, who had stretched out his hand, was slightly stunned. Everyone immediately raised their heads and looked up. Young lady, your talent is not bad. This god is willing to take you in as a disciple. At that moment, a voice sounded. Hu Yang-er saw that the people who appeared one after another were in a daze. When she saw the beautiful woman with 2 fox tails in the sky, she was slightly shocked. Following that, she could not help but widen her eyes. Greetings, Lord God. At the side, when the young men of Divine Fox Knight saw the beautiful woman in the sky, their bodies trembled. They immediately knelt down and greeted loudly. Greetings, Lord God Dual Fox. Shui Qingliu, Hu Dongcheng, Hu Dongyang, and the others also knelt on the ground with shocked faces and shouted loudly. Only Hu Yang-er stood there in a daze. Follow me. I, Dual Fox, have never taken in a disciple in my life. You are the first. Double Fox God Lord slightly waved his hand. A ball of light enveloped Hu Yang-er, making her fly to his side. Chapter 2187. 2187. He was not qualified. Double Fox. Double Fox God Lord. The sky above Double Fox continent was surrounded by a ball of energy. Hu Yang-er, who was standing beside Double Fox God Lord, was slightly absent-minded. She looked at the God Lord in front of her with a face full of shock, and her voice trembled slightly. You can call me master in the future. Come with me. Double Fox God Lord looked at Hu Yang-er in front of him with excitement, his face full of surprise. Pleasant surprise, completely pleasant surprise. This time, although she did not enter the divine tomb of the fallen immortal island, she met a disciple with such a strong physique. This was a good thing for the eternal Double Fox. Hu Yang-er looked at Double Fox Master in a daze, her mind was blank. Double Fox Master actually wanted to take her as a disciple. She couldn't believe it. This was the God Master. What? Lord God Master actually wants to take that girl in as a disciple. Oh my God, our Lord God Master Twin Fox actually wants to take that girl in as a disciple. God Master Twin Fox has never taken in a disciple. That girl became Lord God Master's only disciple. This is a complete leap to the heavens. Below, everyone saw God Master Twin Fox kneeling respectfully on the ground. When they heard God Master Twin Fox's words, their faces were filled with shock. They raised their heads and looked at Hu Yang-er with envy and shock. The God Master actually wants to take in that girl as his disciple. God Fox Knight and the other eternal Twin Fox core disciples also revealed shocked expressions when they saw this scene. They had never expected that the woman they wanted to strike up a conversation with would actually become the disciple of their Lord God. The disciples of the Tiger God dynasty, the Frost Sky Divine sect, and the Foxmark Divine clan were all looking at this scene in shock. Hu Yang had actually been taken in as a disciple by the twin fox godlord. This was a complete leap to the heavens. With that, the entire Fox Pattern Divine clan would become a famous divine clan in the entire Endless Star area. The Fox Pattern Divine clan would rise quickly. After all, this was the first disciple of the Double Fox Godlord. "Let's go," the Double Fox Godlord said to Hu Yang with a smile on his face. His body moved, and he disappeared with her in an instant. Everyone looked down in astonishment. "That beauty is a member of your family." Seeing the Godlord leave, God Fox Knight and the others slowly stood up and asked Shui Qingliu, who was beside them. "No, young Master Yi, she is a member of the Foxmark Divine clan," Shui Qingliu hurriedly said. "Young Master Yi, she is my younger sister. We are from the Foxmark Divine clan." Hu Ji was smiling from the side. "Oh, your biological younger sister?" "This brother, I am God Fox Knight, the eternal Double Fox core disciple. Can this brother introduce your younger sister?" Divine Fox Knight looked at Hu Ji and said politely, I don't dare. Hu Ji had heard of Divine Fox Knight's name. Seeing her polite expression, he hurriedly said, "My sister's name is Hu Yang. She is 30 years old this year. Her strength is at the peak of half a body," he continued to say. At 30 years old, in the Endless Star Field, it was too much to call her a young girl. Hu Yang. Hu Yi muttered and remembered this name. Young Master Yi, Miss Hu Yang already has a fiancé. At this moment, Princess Tian Ran, who was standing at the side, suddenly said, "Hey!" Hu Yi's pupils slightly shrank as he looked at Hu Ji. "Young Master Yi, my sister already has a marriage contract. The reason why she can rise to the peak of half a body is also because of that brother-in-law of mine." Hu Ji frowned slightly and quickly replied with a smile. He, let's not talk about other things. This brother, congratulations to your sister for being accepted as a disciple by the Lord God. In the future, one person will be able to control 10,000 people. This brother, you should call your family over. I believe that very soon, our eternal twin fox transformations will invite your friends from the Foxmark Divine clan. Divine Fox Yi suddenly laughed loudly and said to Hu Ji with a smile, "Yes." Hu Ji's face revealed an excited expression as he immediately nodded. The Foxmark celestial race would definitely rise in power after the twin fox godlord took his sister as his disciple. Hu Dongyang and the others were also filled with excitement. The Divine Tiger God Dynasty's Frost Sky Celestial sect looked on with envy. The Foxmark celestial race could be said to have reached the sky in one step. "Brother Hu Ji, let's go. We will immediately inform the seniors of the Foxmark celestial race." Everyone left excitedly. "She actually has a fiancé?" Seeing Hu Ji and the others leave, a young man next to Divine Fox Knight frowned slightly. To be chosen by the Lord God Lord and taken in as a disciple, her talent must be very terrifying. Who knows, she might be able to step into the eternal God Lord realm in the future. That fiancé of hers is really lucky. The young man continued to say with slight displeasure, "Chumph, that fiancé of his is not worthy of the disciple of the Double Fox Master God." God Fox Knight said with a somewhat ugly expression. He looked in the direction of the center of the Double Fox continent and said, "Let's go back. Yang, right? Sit, don't be restrained." At this moment, in a room at the center of the Double Fox continent, the Double Fox Master God said to Hu Yang with a smile on his face, "It's Lord God Master." Hu Yang nodded with a restrained expression. "Don't be restrained. Just call me Master from now on. From now on, the eternal Twin Fox will be your home." Twin Fox God Master said with a smile on her face. With a wave of her arm, a cup of tea appeared in front of her. I haven't adapted to it yet," Hu Yang said nervously. "Hey, it's fine. Double Fox God Lord shook his head with a smile on his face and looked at her body. "With your current physique, I'm really regretful. If I had met you earlier, you would already be a top-tier expert. But it's not too late now. Under my nurturing in the future, you have a very high chance of inheriting my mantle and inheriting the eternal double fox. In the past hundreds of thousands of years, you have the strongest physique that I have ever seen. The god of twin foxes was not stingy with his praise. Physique. Hu Yang was stunned when she heard the god of twin foxes' words. She recalled the changes in her body. However, she knew that the changes in her body were all due to Brother Wang Xian. It was only after Brother Wang Xian gave her the fruit that her physique underwent such a huge change. My physique is because of Brother Wang Xian. My strength was also improved by Brother Wang Xian, Hu Yang said softly. Huh. The double fox godlord was slightly stunned. A glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. It's extremely difficult to change one's physique. Unless there are heaven-defying treasures or the inheritance of a strong person, everyone's physique is fixed from birth. Your physique should be hidden. It has been guided out. By the way, who is your brother Wang Xian to you? She asked Hu Yang calmly. Brother Wang Xian is Yang's fiancé. Hu Yang whispered with her face flushed red. Fiancé? The dual fox god raised her eyebrows slightly as her eyes flickered. Chapter 2188. 2188 2188. He was not qualified. Yang, these are some cultivation techniques and some information. Take a look here. I'll get someone to inform the members of the fox pattern celestial race. Yes, master. As she watched the back of the double fox godlord disappear, Hu Yang looked at the information on the secret manual beside her and sized up her own body. My physique is obviously very ordinary. It was only improved after Brother Wang Xian gave me that fruit. The fruit that Brother Wang Xian gave me must be a powerful divine fruit. It's better if I don't tell master. Hu Yang looked ahead in a daze as she thought to herself. Although it was a great opportunity for her to be taken in as a disciple by a god, in her opinion, Brother Wang Xian was still more important. Some things had to be kept a secret. Even if she was the disciple of the dual fox god in the future. Men. The master of twin foxes came to a large hall and shouted at the surroundings. Master of God, what are your orders? Soon, an elder walked in and greeted respectfully. Call the people from Yang family over. Also, check some information about her, especially the situation of her fiancé. The master of twin foxes instructed the elder. It's Lord God Master. The old man immediately nodded and walked out. She has a fiancé. Double fox god master muttered and frowned slightly. She had taken in a female disciple. As a woman, she knew girls very well. If her disciple became an eternal god master in the future and her fiancé was the master, how could the eternal double fox agree to it? She took in a disciple so that the eternal twin foxes could continue to live on, but Yang is still a virgin. It's easy to solve. Soon, the twin fox godlord's brows relaxed and he murmured faintly. The twin fox godlord has taken in a disciple. A girl from the foxmark celestial race has been taken in as a personal disciple by the twin fox godlord. The twin fox godlord's first disciple. Hiss, that girl called Hu Yang has soared into the sky. Now, the entire foxmark celestial race has struck it rich. Double fox god lord's personal disciple. The news of double fox god lord accepting a disciple quickly spread across the entire double fox continent and spread in all directions. Countless factions had already gathered around the fallen immortal god island. This shocking news spread out at a terrifying speed. Soon, all the factions in the western region received this news. What? Yang has been taken in as a disciple by the dual fox godlord? However, at this moment, the Hu Wen celestial race and the divine tiger dynasty's group of deity realm experts looked at Hu Ji and the other youths in shock. Yes, father, first elder, my lords. Yang has been taken away by the dual fox godlord. Presumably, the eternal dual fox experts will come and inform us soon. Hu Ji nodded excitedly. Hu Dongyang and Hu Dongcheng's disciples also nodded heavily. Good, good. My daughter has been taken in as a disciple by the God Master. Haha, good, good, good. Our disciples of the Foxmark celestial race have been taken in as personal disciples by the God Master. Our fox-mark celestial race is going to rise up. Hu Fei and the experts of the Hu Wen celestial race also revealed excited expressions. They knew what it meant for Hu Yang to be taken in as a disciple by the Lord God. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations to the Hu Wen celestial race, the gods of the divine Tiger dynasty said with envious expressions. I'll go inform the Tiger Emperor and the Empress right away. A lord of the divine Tiger dynasty immediately said. The Hu Wen celestial race and the divine Tiger dynasty were like branches. If Hu Yang was taken in as a disciple by the God Lord, the divine Tiger dynasty would also be able to obtain some benefit. Moreover, at this time, with such a major matter, he had to immediately inform the Tiger Emperor and the Empress. He believed that they would rush over as quickly as possible. Whoosh! At this time, 5 eternal double fox experts flew over. Each of the 5 elders was at the peak of the godly state. They knew what it meant for the eternal God Lord to take in disciples. It meant that Hu Yang might be the future successor of the eternal twin foxes. They were naturally very cautious when facing Hu Yang clansmen. You should be friends of the Fox Pattern Divine Clan, right? A peak of the godly state expert flew over and cupped his hands towards the Fox Pattern Divine Clan with a smile on his face. Sir, we are. The fox-patterned god clan and the divine tiger god dynasty looked at the 5 old men's clothes and sensed their power. They quickly responded respectfully. Haha, there's no need to be so polite. Congratulations to the fox-patterned god clan's disciple for becoming the personal disciple of our Lord Double Fox God Lord. Our Lord God Lord invites all of you to be his guest. The 5 peak god realm elders said politely. The God Realm experts of the Fox-Patterned God Clan and the Divine Tiger Dynasty were all excited when they saw this scene. Thank you, sirs, for coming to report this. This is our Fox-Patterned God Clan's honor, the first elder of the Fox-Patterned God Clan hurriedly said. All right, let's go. The 5 peak God Realm experts nodded and led them toward the Double Fox continent. When the surrounding factions saw this scene, they looked at the members of the fox-patterned celestial race with envy. Wang Xian, who was located at the eastern side of the fallen immortal island, did not know that due to the change in Hu Yang physique, a master god had taken her in as his personal disciple. He stood on a meteorite and looked at the group of dragon guards in front of him with a smile on his face. There were over 2,000 dragon guards. The fallen dragon guards were being revived. Among the 2,000 dragon guards in front of him, there were 30 who had ignited the divine fire, and 50 who had reached the peak of the demigod realm and had the combat strength of the god realm. That was to say, there were about 80 dragon guards who had the combat strength of the god realm. Basically, all the dragon guards had risen by a level. Ao Jian now had the combat strength of the peak of the god realm. Together with Ao Chitian and Ao Qi, there were 8 peak of the god realm in the dragon palace. One of them was an ardent dark demon dragon that was infinitely close to the Godlord realm. Furthermore, Ao He was Ao He who was fighting against the eternal divine lord. After we return this time, bring Ao He back with us. Then, we will go to the eternal thunderclap. It would be best if we can kill him. Wang Xian mumbled to himself. Ao Jian, wait for Ao He to come out. You guys will meet up with him first. Wang Xian instructed Ao He who was beside him. It's the Dragon King. Ao Crab nodded his head. Wang Xian nodded his head. Then, his body moved and he flew towards the west. He left one after another. Hu Yang thought that he was going to leave. It had been a few hours. It was time for him to go back and take a look. When he thought of Hu Yang, Wang Xian revealed a smile on his face. Hey! When Wang Xian arrived at the meteorite, he realized that there was no one else on it. He was stunned for a moment. Then, he frowned slowly and looked around. TSK, that woman from the fox-patterned celestial race is really lucky. She was actually taken in as a personal disciple by the master of Double Fox celestial race. The master of Double Fox celestial race must have taken a liking to Hu Yang talent. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken her in as his disciple for no reason. At this moment, there were faint discussions coming from the surrounding. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. Chapter 2189. 2189 2189. He was not qualified to accept it. The master of Double Fox has taken Yang as his disciple? Wang Xian listened to the faint voices around him and raised his eyebrows slightly. With Yang current talent, it might not be impossible for the master of Fox to take her as his disciple. He mumbled to himself. After consuming the fruit of the womb, coupled with the nurturing of the ancestral tree, her potential and talent had reached a terrifying level. This was a good thing. Buzz buzz. At this moment, the communication stone on his body trembled. When Wang Xian saw the information on it, a smile appeared on his face. It was Yang who sent him a message telling him that she was on the Twin Fox continent and that she wanted him to look for her here. Let's go. Wang Xian smiled and looked at the Twin Fox continent in front of him. His body moved and he flew up. After entering the Twin Fox continent, Wang Xian looked at the center and walked straight towards it. In the center of the continent, there was an incomparably majestic hall. In the sky above the central hall, there was a double-tailed divine fox statue. This was the statue of the eternal twin foxes. The eternal twin foxes possessed the bloodline of the twin-tailed divine fox. This was an extremely high-level bloodline. The disciples of the eternal twin foxes could choose to cultivate the wood or fire attributes. The improvement speed was extremely fast. The current divine master of the twin foxes had cultivated both the wood and fire attributes at the same time. He had broken through the limitations of his bloodline and reached the realm of the eternal divine master. However, throughout history, only the divine master of the twin foxes had cultivated two attributes and reached the realm of the divine master. Stop. Outsiders are prohibited from entering the divine fox hall. When Wang Xian arrived at the entrance of the hall, the guards at the entrance stared at him coldly. My apologies, both of you. This is a member of the fox pattern celestial race. At this moment, Huji walked into the main hall with a smile on his face. So you are a brother of the fox pattern celestial race. Please come in, please come in. When the two guards at the entrance saw Huji, they immediately said with a smile on their faces. By now, everyone in the dual fox celestial race knew that their master had taken in a disciple. As the only disciple of the master of the dual fox celestial race, they would definitely become the nobles of the eternal dual fox celestial race in the future. Naturally, they had to be careful. Brother-in-law, come, come. Huji rushed forward and greeted Wang Xian enthusiastically. Okay. Wang Xian nodded and walked over with a smile on his face. Brother-in-law, did you know that the master of the dual fox celestial race has taken in Yang as his disciple? Her only disciple. Let's go to the main hall now. I reckon that Master Dual Fox will receive us personally in a while. Huji was obviously very excited as he spoke to Wang Xian and brought him inside. It's Yang good fortune to be able to become Master Dual Fox's disciple. Wang Xian said with a smile. Brother-in-law, Yang has become Master Dual Fox's disciple. In the future, no one will dare to offend you in the Western region. Recently, Yang was worried that she wasn't good enough for you. Now, there's no need to worry. How about it, brother-in-law? I know that your identity is mysterious, but my sister isn't bad either. Huji said to Wang Xian with a smile on his face. You and Yang saved my life back then. There's no such thing as an identity. Wang Xian shook his head. Let's go. Huji didn't say too much. He knew that his sister liked the young man in front of her. Huji was 100% satisfied with Wang Xian. The two of them soon arrived at a large hall. At this moment, a group of godly state experts from the Hu Wen celestial race and the divine tiger dynasty were sitting in the hall. A group of disciples were standing at the side. 4 people were sitting in the middle. Hu Fei, Hu Yang grandfather. On the other side was a graceful and elegant woman, a middle-aged man with a dignified face. These 2 people were the current Tiger Emperor and Empress of the Divine Tiger Dynasty. The Empress was a member of the Hu Wen celestial race, and at the same time, she was the strongest expert of the Hu Wen celestial race. After they received Hu Yang as a disciple of the Dual Fox Godlord, they immediately gave up all their matters and rushed over in just half an hour. At this moment, Hu Yang stood in front of the 4 of them. Regardless of whether it was Hu Fei or Hu Yang-er's grandfather, their faces were filled with gratified and happy smiles. The Tiger Emperor and Empress of the Divine Tiger Dynasty looked at Hu Yang-er with smiles on their faces. Yang-er, this emperor has decided to confer you the title of Princess Changtian of the Divine Tiger Dynasty. You can mobilize all the armies of the Divine Tiger Dynasty. In this Divine Dynasty, wherever you go, I will personally come. The Tiger Emperor of the Divine Tiger Dynasty waved his hand and directly conferred the title to Hu Yang-er. Thank you, Your Majesty. Hu Yang-er hurriedly expressed her gratitude. This right to confer the title was almost a disguised declaration of a second emperor. However, the Tiger Emperor also knew that in the future, Hu Yang-er's right, even if she did not confer the title of Princess Changtian, could still cover the sky of the Divine Tiger Dynasty with one hand. In fact, she could even cover the sky of the entire western region in the future. Haha, Yang-er is really beautiful. Foster mother doesn't have anything good, so I'll accept a small gift. This is something that our Foxmark God clan's old patriarch personally passed down to foster mother. Now, foster mother will pass it down to you. The Empress smiled as she took out a precious divine artifact and placed it in Hu Yang-er's hand. Thank you, foster mother. Hu Yang-er lowered her head and said hurriedly. She didn't expect her status to change so quickly. Even the strongest expert of her celestial race, the Tiger Emperor of the Divine Tiger Dynasty, was trying to curry favor with her. Sister, brother-in-law is here. Hu Ji, who had just walked in, saw this scene. His face was filled with pride as he spoke to Hu Yang-er. Brother Wang Xian. Hu Yang-er immediately turned her head. When she saw Wang Xian, her face was filled with joy. She immediately ran towards Wang Xian. Her. When the Tiger Emperor and Empress saw this scene, they raised their eyebrows slightly. Brother Wang Xian. Hu Yang-er ran over with a smile on her face. Congratulations, you have been accepted as a disciple by the Dual Fox God. Wang Xian congratulated her with a smile on his face. All of this is because of brother Wang Xian, Hu Yang-er said softly. That is also your opportunity. Wang Xian shook his head. Xiao Xian. Hu Fei and Hu Yang-er's grandfather saw him walking over and greeted him in a good mood. Hua hua hua. Welcome, all of you from the Foxmark celestial race to our eternal dual foxes. At this moment, a voice came from outside as people walked over one by one. The Tiger Emperor and the Empress who were sitting in the center looked at the people who came over with shocked expressions. They quickly stood up to welcome them. Ha ha ha, everyone, don't be restrained. We will be a family from now on. An expert at the peak of the eternal twin-tailed divine realm looked at the entire hall and said with a smile. The eyes of the over 30 people who came swept across everyone in the hall and landed on Hu Yang-er. When some of the young disciples and even middle-aged men saw Hu Yang-er's face and temperament, a hint of astonishment appeared on their faces. That guy should be Hu Yang-er's fiancé. Shun Hu Yi and the rest of the young men followed behind. One of the young men looked at Hu Yang-er who was standing beside Wang Xian with a flushed face and said softly to Shun Hu Yi. HMPH, him? He is not qualified yet. He is not worthy. A hint of jealousy flashed across Hu Yang-er's eyes as she said coldly. Chapter 2190. 2190 Assassinate 2190. Whether she is worthy or not is not up to us. She is the only disciple of our Lord God Lord. In the future, her status will be even higher than ours. A young man glanced at Divine Fox Knight and said indifferently, if I say she is not worthy, then she is not worthy. Divine Fox Knight heard a young man's retort and looked at him coldly. The young man opened his mouth but didn't dare to say anything. Don't talk nonsense. The few of them whispered to each other, causing an old man in front to turn his head and remind him indifferently. The core disciples of the eternal twin foxes quickly shut their mouths. Little Yi, do you like this disciple of the God Lord? The old man looked at Divine Fox Knight and transmitted his voice. Oh! Divine Fox Knight was slightly stunned. He looked at the old man and immediately lowered his head. Great-grandfather, I. He. The old man smiled and did not speak. Shun Hu Yi slowly raised his head. His eyes were shining. When he looked at Hu Yang-er, he was filled with a strong desire. Once he could obtain her, he would be able to control her beauty and power. Haha, this is Miss Hu Yang, right? Congratulations, congratulations. In the future, you will be the young princess of our eternal twin foxes. 7 or 8 peak divine realm experts directly bowed to Hu Yang and said with a smile, I don't dare, I don't dare. My lords, you don't have to be so polite. Hu Yang saw that they were so respectful and hurriedly said, Hihi, Miss Hu Yang, we are the elder group of the eternal twin foxes. If you have any needs in the future, you can directly tell us. We will definitely settle it for you. They shook their heads and said with a trace of respect, Yes, yes. Thank you, grandfathers. Hu Yang replied politely. When the people from the Foxmark Divine Clan and the Divine Tiger Dynasty saw the eternal twin foxes treating Hu Yang so respectfully, their faces were filled with smiles. Buzz. At this moment, a figure appeared out of thin air in the middle of the hall. Greetings, Master Double Fox. When the crowd saw this, they immediately got ready to kneel down. There's no need. Master Double Fox waved her arm and a surge of energy stopped them. She looked at Hu Yang with a smile on her face. When she swept her gaze past Wang Xian, her eyes flickered slightly. 4 wisps of divine fire, it's indeed outstanding, she thought to herself. Please greet the friends of the fox-patterned celestial race and the divine tiger dynasty and introduce some information to Yang. This must be Yang father and grandfather. Let me have a chat with the two of you and thank you for gifting such outstanding disciples to me. The double fox god master looked at Hu Fei and the rest with a smile on his face. I dare not, I dare not. My lord divine master, our patriarch and tiger emperor. Let's go together. Double fox divine master said as he walked straight towards the back of the main hall. Tiger emperor, empress, and Hu Fei, Hu Yang grandfather hurriedly followed behind. 8 peak stage eternal double fox divine realm experts also followed behind and entered. Sit. Double Fox Divine Master entered and gestured to them. Tiger Emperor Empress Hu Fei and the others sat at the side with faces full of excitement and caution. Yang characteristics are very strong. She is the most outstanding person I have ever seen. In the future, she is very likely to inherit my mantle. Double Fox God Lord sat at the center and said directly, Yang is able to take you, Double Fox God Lord, as her master. This is her good fortune. Thank you, Lord God Lord, for taking my daughter as a disciple. Hu Fei immediately stood up and said respectfully, He. Double Fox God Lord waved his hand. This is also my honor. Your fox pattern race can directly join our eternal twin foxes in the future. I will definitely not mistreat you. If you have any difficulties in the future, just come to them directly. Thank you, God Lord. Empress Hu Fei and the others trembled as they hurriedly thanked him. We are all a family. It is you who gave me a good disciple. Double Fox God Lord said indifferently. In the future, Yang will cultivate with me. I am not very clear about some things about Yang I only know that she has a fiancé. Is that right? Double Fox God Lord opened his mouth and asked. Oh, it is the Lord God Lord. Yang has a fiancé. The reason why Yang can reach her current strength is because of her fiancé. Hu Fei frowned without leaving a trace as he replied. That should be because he used a special method to open Yang hidden physique. Yang physique is heaven-defying. In the future, she will cultivate with me and inherit my eternal twin foxes. The twin fox God Lord said faintly. This. Hu Fei was slightly stunned when he heard her words. He did not understand what she meant. Hu Fei, didn't you say that Yang engagement with that Wang Xian was merely a temporary measure? It was because the ancient Orchid Divine sect broke off their engagement. A glint flashed across the Empress's eyes as she immediately asked Hu Fei. There is such a thing, but... Hu Fei nodded his head. In the future, Yang will focus on her cultivation with the Lord God. Let's put aside some of her personal feelings for now. It's just a temporary measure anyway. Let's just forget about it. Hu Fei did not say anything. The Empress directly interrupted him. That's right. I think Yang marriage will be discussed in the future. The Tiger Emperor also directly opened his mouth and said. Hu Fei did not understand what the dual fox god lord meant. However, as the Emperor and the Empress, who was the mother of the world, they had already heard a trace of it. Thinking about it, it made sense. The successor chosen by the dual fox godlord was to inherit the eternal dual fox. However, if he were to marry an outsider, what would happen in the future? They could not guarantee this. It was obvious that the double fox godlord wanted to kill all accident. This. Yang has a good impression of Wang Xian now. I'm afraid that Yang Hu Fei frowned slightly. It's all right. It's still early. Let's not talk about this for now. The double fox god lord said indifferently. He changed the topic and started to talk about other things. After chatting for about 5 minutes, Hu Fei and the others left, and a few peak divine realm experts of eternal double fox followed them. Little Hu, what's the matter? Double fox god lord saw that an old man didn't leave. He stood there hesitantly and asked indifferently. Grandma, about Yang matter, Little Hu has some opinions. The old man said respectfully to Double Fox God Lord. Speak. Double Fox God Lord lightly nodded. Grandma, Little Pot thinks that if Grandma wants to pass the eternal Double Fox inheritance to Yang then it's best for her to marry into our eternal Double Fox. The old man respectfully said. It's not that I want to pass the eternal Double Fox inheritance to her, but other than her having the greatest possibility of advancing to God Lord, the other disciples are too small. The twin fox god lord said. Little Pot knows that right now, the most talented Xiao Yi has a 1 in 10 chance of reaching your level. I think. Let's settle the matter of Yang fiancé first before we talk about anything else. I'll leave this matter to you. Remember, Yang is my disciple. She might inherit the eternal twin foxes in the future. The twin fox god lord interrupted him, waved his hand at him, and ordered him to retreat. The old man bowed and immediately retreated. He naturally understood his grandmother's meaning. He could use any method, but he could not let Hu Yang bear a grudge against the eternal double fox. This is very simple. The old man muttered. Chapter 2191. 2191 2191 Assassination. Yang Twin Fox Godlord said that he will hold a master's ceremony here in 5 days. At that time, he will invite all the major powers to witness it. Hu Fei and Tiger Emperor walked out from the room behind the main hall and walked towards Hu Yang with smiles on their faces. Master's ceremony? Hu Yang nodded her head. An eternal god lord accepting a disciple, such a major event would naturally be announced to the world. If the ceremony was held at this place, it might not only be the arrival of the forces from the western region, but also some forces from the central region. In fact, the other masters might even give face to the double fox master and come to watch the ceremony. 5 days later, it would definitely be a huge event. When the time comes, Yang will become the princess of the entire eternal double fox. Wang Xian said with a faint smile. I'm not a princess. Hu Yang said to him with a smile. Everyone from the Fox's God clan, we will get someone to bring you to the place where you will be staying. As this continent is only temporary, there is no place to stay in the main hall for the time being. It will be tough for everyone to stay by the side of the main hall. The last old man who walked out looked at all of them and walked over to apologize. It's all right, it's all right. Tiger Emperor and the others hurriedly replied. Old Seven, bring them to take a look. Little Princess Hu Yang I'll find someone to teach you some of our eternal twin foxes etiquette and rules in the next few days. Little Princess, don't go out for the next few days. Everyone from the Foxmark Divine clan can come and see her. The old man continued to add. All right. Hu Yang nodded at him. Old Seven, take them to familiarize themselves with the place. We'll have dinner together tonight. The old man said to a peak deity realm expert. All right, everyone, follow me. That expert gestured to them and led them out. Hu Yang also followed. Little Yi. Seeing them leave, the old man looked at Divine Fox Knight and shouted at him. He walked out. Great-grandfather, what orders do you have? Divine Fox Knight followed behind with a puzzled expression. Hu Yang is not bad. She might inherit our eternal twin foxes in the future. Your talent can be considered the most outstanding of our eternal twin foxes in the past 100,000 years. You should interact more with Hu Yang. The old man looked at him and said faintly, "Oh." Divine Fox Knight was slightly stunned. He was naturally very willing to interact more with Hu Yang. However, just like earlier, when he went over to chat with her, Hu Yang completely ignored him. She merely gave a few words of agreement before talking to the youth beside her. She might inherit the eternal twin foxes. Our eternal twin foxes naturally would not agree to let her marry an outsider. The old man looked at him and continued speaking. "Oh." Divine Fox Knight's eyes flickered. Even if Hu Yang had the slightest chance of inheriting the eternal twin foxes, they, and even the Lord Godlord, would not agree to her marrying an outsider. Only by marrying the eternal twin foxes would she be considered one of them. He suddenly raised his head, and a fiery look appeared in his eyes. "But, grandfather, she already has a fiancé now," Divine Fox Knight said in a low voice. "I'll leave this matter to you. Remember, you can't let Hu Yang know, or else you'll know the consequences," the old man said to him. Divine Fox Knight's body paused, and light shot out from his eyes. "Grandfather, in recent years, a powerful assassin organization has appeared in the central region." His face revealed a trace of excitement as he said in a low voice, "Remember, you can't let Hu Yang know." The old man reminded once again, "Don't worry, great-grandfather, there won't be any problems," Divine Fox Knight said with a face full of confidence. "This is some information about that young man." The old man nodded, passed a few pieces of paper to him, and walked straight ahead. After receiving the paper, Shun Huyi paused for a moment and read the contents. Then, he returned to the main hall and gestured to a young man. "Big brother." The young man walked over and shouted at him with a smile on his face. "Last time, you mentioned that there is a powerful assassin organization in the central region. Is it reliable? Contact the target, Hu Yang's fiancé, Wang Xian," Godly Fox Knight said to him coldly. "What?" The young man was slightly stunned. He looked at him with a face full of shock. That young man's identity is very mysterious. Even our eternal twin foxes have yet to find any information about him. Hu Yang and the fox-patterned celestial race do not know his identity. It doesn't matter if such a person dies. Even so, don't leave any traces behind, Godly Fox Knight said faintly. They didn't manage to find any information about Wang Xian within a short period of time. However, they didn't care how mysterious he was as long as Hu Yang didn't know about it. "Big brother, are we really going to make a move? That assassin organization is very reliable. There's no one that they wouldn't dare to kill. Many of the 9 wisps of divine fire gods were assassinated. Killing that guy is a piece of cake." The youth's eyes flickered as he spoke. "Contact them," Divine Fox Knight said indifferently. "All right, I'll contact them right away. I estimate that we'll be able to kill them within 2 to 3 days." The youth nodded. Divine Fox Knight nodded. Since his grandfather was so cautious, he naturally had to get rid of everything. He could rest assured that if anything happened, he would be able to withstand it for him. Hu Yang. At the thought of Hu Yang's appearance, a fiery expression appeared on his face. "This is the place where everyone will temporarily stay." Outside the main hall, the 2 eternal foxes brought them to their residence and spoke to them one by one. "I'll have to trouble you, Elder," the Tiger Emperor and the rest said hurriedly. "It's no trouble. Take a look around. Someone will come to fetch everyone tonight." The old man shook his head and turned around to leave. "Brother Wang Xian, let me take a look at your residence." Hu Yang pulled Wang Xian towards the courtyard at the side. The small courtyard gave them a familiar feeling. "Hu Fei, Hu Yaoguang, let's talk together." At the side, the Tiger Emperor and Empress called out to Hu Fei and Hu Yang's grandfather. "Yes, Your Majesty." "Empress, what's the matter?" The 2 of them walked over immediately. "Let's talk inside." The Tiger Emperor looked at the backs of Hu Yang and Wang Xian and said to them, "Okay." Hu Fei and her father exchanged a glance and walked inside. "Hu Fei, do you understand what Master Jewel Fox means today?" The four of them sat in the room while the Empress looked at them and said, "Dual Fox God Lord doesn't seem to want Yang to have a fiancé." Hu Yaoguang frowned and said indifferently, "It's not that he doesn't want a fiancé, but he doesn't want a fiancé outside. After all, Yang might inherit the eternal Dual Fox. Dual Fox God Lord naturally wants Hu Yang to be one of us, not just a disciple." The Empress's eyes flickered as she said. Chapter 2192. 2192 Under 2192's assassination attempt. How could a mighty eternal double fox, the god of double foxes, be inherited by an outsider? Yang current fiancé is an outsider. The Tiger Emperor looked at Hu Fei, Hu Yaoguang, and the rest and added, "Then we." Hu Fei opened her mouth, not knowing what to say. Yang and that young man were originally a temporary solution. Let's find a time to talk about it and tell him to stay away from Yang in the future, the Empress said faintly. But Yang seems to have a good impression of Wang Xian now. Hu Fei frowned and said, "Yang is still young and insensible. For Yang future, we should make a decision for him," the Tiger Emperor said from the side. Besides, although the Dual Fox Divine Master didn't mention anything about Yang future, we should think about it. Yang marriage to the Eternal Double Fox is the best choice now. I think Yang is quite sensible. As elders, we can arrange a marriage for him. The Empress continued to add on this. Hu Fei and her father looked at each other. Their expressions changed. They were more satisfied with Wang Xian from the bottom of their hearts. Furthermore, the fact that Yang was taken in as a disciple by the Double Fox Godlord had a lot to do with Wang Xian. If they were to do such a thing at this time, it would be a little unreasonable. Should we seek Yang opinion? Hu Fei hesitated for a moment before speaking. The Tiger Emperor and the Empress frowned slightly and fell into deep thought. This matter can be postponed. However, Yang will be taking on the Double Fox Celestial Master in 5 days. We have to do one thing. That is to announce that Yang engagement with that Wang Xian is only a temporary measure. Yang is his savior anyway. We are also thinking of Yang future. We will do the rest, the Empress said directly. Hu Fei and Hu Yaoguang could not refute. They could only nod their heads. At night, the people from the Eternal Double Fox came to pick them up for dinner. In a palace located in the center of the palace, the experts from the Eternal Twin Foxes and the members of the Foxmark Celestial race were having dinner together. As the female lead, Hu Yang was the center of everyone's attention. Wang Xian sat beside Hu Yang. From time to time, he could feel the cold gazes coming from the opposite side. He looked over and saw a few young men staring at him. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. "Yang, it seems that you are quite charming. Look, I feel that there are a few murderous gazes staring at me," Wang Xian said to Hu Yang who was beside him with a smile. "No, it's probably because brother Wang Xian is more handsome." Hu Yang's face was filled with joy as she said with a blushing face. "Haha, is that so?" he said with a smile. On the opposite side, Divine Fox Knight clenched his fists tightly when he saw their friendly looks. "You won't be able to be happy for long," Divine Fox Knight growled in a low voice. After 3 rounds of drinking, everything was in harmony. With Hu Yang around, no one dared to show any disrespect to Wang Xian. After waving goodbye to Hu Yang, Wang Xian, and the rest of the Hu Wen Celestial race walked out. "Little brother Wang Xian." At this moment, a voice came from the side. Wang Xian looked over and saw the Tiger Emperor and the Empress walking towards him with smiles on their faces. Both of them walked to both sides of him. "What's the matter?" Wang Xian's heart skipped a beat as he looked at them. "Let's get straight to the point then." The Tiger Emperor looked at him indifferently. "Your engagement with Yang was originally a temporary measure. It was just a temporary act. Now that Yang has been taken in as a disciple by the Dual Fox Celestial Master, she might inherit the Eternal Dual Foxes in the future. For the sake of Yang future and to prevent her from being distracted, let's forget about our relationship back then." As he spoke, he took out a treasure and handed it to Wang Xian. "This is a pretty good divine weapon. Take it." "No need." When Wang Xian heard his words, He narrowed his eyes slightly and shook his head lightly. Young man, now that Yang has become the disciple of the double fox god, you should know the difference between you and her. Don't be too greedy. The Empress frowned slightly when she saw Wang Xian's rejection. You don't have to interfere in my matters. Wang Xian glanced at them and said calmly, HMPH, young man, you have to recognize your identity. How mysterious is your identity? How strong can you be? Are you worthy of Yang? The Empress said coldly when she heard his word. Wang Xian smiled faintly and glanced at Hu Fei and the rest who were behind him. He saw that Hu Fei was frowning and his eyes were flickering. He walked straight to his own courtyard. HMPH, you don't know when to advance or retreat. The tiger monarch looked at his figure and said coldly, he is a toad that wants to eat swan meat. The Empress's gaze was cold. He actually told me to stay away from Yang. Yang should not know about this. Wang Xian returned to the courtyard and frowned slightly. Leader, we have received a huge mission. The other party wants you to do it personally. Their reward is very generous. At this moment, in a bustling city in the central starfield, a white figure stood in front of a black and white figure in an unusually ordinary restaurant and spoke respectfully. Oh, what is the opponent's strength? The black and white figure asked indifferently. A young man's strength should have ignited the divine fire. The white figure reported. Oh, such a simple task requires me to do it personally. It seems to be special. The black and white figure was slightly surprised. The opponent requests to assassinate the opponent within 48 hours. The opponent is currently on the Twin Fox continent of the fallen immortal God Island. The opponent has provided the specific location. The white shadow continued to speak. It seems that it might be an elite disciple of the eternal Twin Foxes. Take it. The black and white shadow said directly. Even if the other party might be the core disciple of the eternal Twin Foxes, they were not afraid at all. Other assassin organizations might be afraid of the eternal Godlord's forces, but they were fearless. As an assassin organization that had risen in the past 2 years, although they had only been established for a very short time, their fame had spread throughout the endless starfield. All the experts below the peak of the God realm were terrified of them. Once, a proud son of heaven of the eternal 7 stars in the central area had died at their hand. So what? They didn't even know who had killed him. It's the leader. The white shadow nodded immediately. Soon, the information of the assassins was sent over. There was a simple portrait and introduction on it. The other party had appointed the strongest person in their assassin organization to take action. As a credit, their leader would personally take action. The white shadow handed the information to the black and white shadow. When the black and white shadow saw the information on it, he suddenly stood up. A terrifying murderous aura condensed in the air. He actually wants to harm the Dragon King. Very good, very good. The black and white light revolved around his body and a cold pupil slowly appeared. Stop all the missions immediately and find the person who issued this mission. All the members of the strange monster, follow me to the fallen immortal God Island. If you want to harm the Dragon King, kill without mercy. Chapter 2193. 2193 2193 Dragon Spike. The Dragon Spike Assassin Organization, the assassin organization that had risen up in the central region in the past 2 years. The rise of the Dragon Spike was built on the corpses. Since its establishment, it had only accepted missions with 9 wisps of divine fire wrapped around the 9 wisps of divine fire and below. It had never lost. The 9 wisps of divine fire experts that had died at the hands of the Dragon Spike Assassin Organization had reached 7 or 8. 60 or 70 gods had died at the hands of the Dragon Assassin Group. None of them had lost. The appearance of the Dragon Assassin Group had terrified many forces. Some big forces wanted to destroy the Dragon Assassin Group, but all the disciples under the peak of the godly state had been assassinated. Since then, the Dragon Assassin Group had become famous throughout the boundless star area. Many people in other regions had heard of the Dragon Assassin Group. The leader of the Dragon Assassin Group, Ao Yarrow. 3 years ago, Ao Yarrow had led Strange Demon out of the Dragon Palace to explore the world. 3 years had passed since then, and he had made his current announcement. Today, when he received news that someone was going to assassinate their Dragon King, Aoyaro's heart was filled with killing intent. In one night, more than 2,000 members of the Dragon Assassin group had gathered. Under Aoyaro's lead, they flew towards the fallen Immortal Island. At the same time, Aoyaro used all the strength of the Dragon Assassin organization to investigate the person who issued the mission. The person who issued the mission had to contact the Dragon Assassin organization. They had to pay a deposit when they issued the mission. They had to come into contact with the Dragon Assassin organization. Once they came into contact with the Dragon Assassin organization, the Dragon Assassin organization would be able to find clues and find the person who issued the mission. Although this went against the core of the Assassin organization, would the Dragon Assassin organization be concerned about this? Since he dared to harm their Dragon King, he was destined to die. The night passed quickly. Early in the morning, Wang Xian came to the courtyard and brewed a cup of tea. A few days ago, Hu Yang had already run over. Thinking of Hu Yang, Wang Xian smiled faintly. Buzz. At this moment, Wang Xian sensed a familiar aura coming. Dragon King. He turned around and saw Aoyaro kneeling by the side. She was shouting respectfully. "Oh, Aoyao, why are you here?" Wang Xian looked at him in surprise. "Dragon King, all the disciples of our strange demon clan have arrived. 3 years ago, our strange demon clan left the Dragon Palace and established an assassin organization in the central region. Now, our Dragon Assassin organization is well known. Yesterday, we received a mission to assassinate the Dragon King. Hence, Aoyaro brought her men and rushed over immediately." Aoyaro reported to Wang Xian. "Assassination mission?" Wang Xian was stunned for a moment and squinted his eyes slightly. "We are investigating the sender of the mission. We should have the results today," Aoyaro reported. "All right, let's wait then. Where are the other members of the strange demon now?" Wang Xian asked him. "I can sense the aura of the other members of the Dragon Palace. The strange demon is currently with Ao Jian and the rest," Aoyaro said. "Come, let's go. Bring all your resources and go to the Dragon Palace to increase your strength," Wang Xian said to him. His body moved and he flew out directly. Aoyaro immediately followed behind him. Soon, the two of them arrived on the meteorite. "Greetings, Dragon King." The group of strange demons immediately knelt in front and shouted loudly. "Get up." Wang Xian waved his hand and swept his gaze across all the members of the strange demons. Their improvement was generally higher than that of the Dragon Guards. Coupled with the resources in their hands, their overall strength should be much stronger than the Dragon Guard. Buzz. His body shook and the Dragon Palace appeared faintly behind him. "Aoyaro, increase your combat strength to the peak of the godly state," Wang Xian instructed Aoyaro. "It's the Dragon King." Aoyaro nodded and led all the strange demons into the Dragon Palace. As the famous Dragon Assassin organization, the resources they obtained were definitely not something the Dragon Guards could compare to. However, most of the members of the Dragon Guards had improved their Heartless Sword principle. Even if the overall strength of the strange demons was higher than theirs, it was not much higher. "I wonder who would want to assassinate me. The Tiger Emperor and Empress from yesterday? Or is it someone from the Eternal Twin Foxes?" Wang Xian stood on the meteorite with a cold glint in his eyes. "Hey, where is Brother Wang Xian? Brother, why isn't Brother Wang Xian here?" At this moment, in the main hall at the center of the Twin Foxes continent, Hu Yang swept her gaze across the surroundings and asked Hu Ji. I don't know either. When I went to his courtyard just now, I realized that he was no longer in there." Hu Ji shook his head. "Sister, are you really in love with Wang Xian?" He hesitated for a moment and asked Hu Yang. Brother, what nonsense are you asking?" Hu Yang face turned red and she immediately ran away. Sister, I also think that brother-in-law Wang Xian is not bad. However, you are already the disciple of the Master of God. Although that Wang Xian is mysterious, he might not be worthy of you anymore. Perhaps the Tiger Emperor, Empress, and even the Eternal Twin Foxes will stop him." Hu Ji sighed and looked at the figure of his sister. "That kid knows his own limits. At the side, when the Tiger Emperor, Empress, and the rest saw that Wang Xian had not arrived, they revealed satisfied expressions on their faces. Big brother, the dragon spike has already responded. They have accepted this mission. I will go and pay the reward. In a corner of the hall, a young man whispered to Divine Fox Knight. Be careful. Divine Fox Knight said to him, Don't worry, big brother. The Dragon Assassin organization's credibility is still trustworthy. There won't be any problems. Tomorrow morning, this person will disappear from the human world. The young man said confidently. Okay. Divine Fox Knight nodded. The youth left. Looking at the communication stone plate in his hand, his body moved and walked towards a location at the edge of the Twin Fox continent. There was the place where he had agreed to pay the Dragon Assassin. Arriving at an empty location, he threw an interspatial ring on the ground and pretended that nothing had happened as he returned the way he came. Whoosh! However, at this moment, a ray of light completely enveloped him. The young man didn't even have time to react before he fainted instantly. Then, he disappeared. The young man had been very careful when he came. No one knew that he had disappeared. Dragon King, the person who issued the mission, has been caught. Not long after, two strange demons who had transformed into dragon-pricking dragons appeared on the meteorite. In front of them, an unconscious body was placed on the ground. Wang Xian looked over and raised his eyebrows slightly. Eternal twin foxes, he mumbled. He had seen this young man before. He was the core disciple of the Eternal Twin Foxes. He narrowed his eyes slightly and waved his arm. The sound of sleep-talking came from his mouth. He looked around with a confused expression. When he saw Wang Xian in front of him, his expression changed drastically. Then, he stood up abruptly. It was you who ambushed me. You're courting death. How dare you ambush me? You're courting death. Do you know who I am? He stood up with a cold expression and shouted at Wang Xian sternly. However, at this moment, the strange demon who had been improving his strength in the Dragon Palace for a few hours walked out slowly. More than 2,000 members of the Dragon Spike team who were glowing with light and black and white walked to the back of Wang Xian. The leader of the team, Ao Yarrow, stared at him coldly. Chapter 2194. 2194. I am the Dragon King. The young man stared at Wang Xian with an ice-cold expression. His face was filled with anger and coldness. He did not expect that this fellow in front of him would actually dare to follow and sneak attack him. Who gave him the courage? He was the core disciple of the Eternal Twin Foxes. However, when he saw many strange creatures walking towards him, he was slightly stunned. Feeling the cold aura of the other party, his expression changed slightly. But immediately after, a light flashed in his mind. White light. Black and white strange. Dragon Spike. This was a Dragon Spike. He had some understanding of the Dragon Spike Assassin organization. The Dragon Spike was extremely powerful, and all of the missions had failed. You don't know when you will be assassinated. It could be when you were eating in the restaurant or when you were sleeping. The assassination of the Dragon Assassin organization didn't differentiate between day and night. Someone once discovered that the members of the Dragon Assassin organization were a special type of demon beast. It seemed that some of them cultivated the light while others controlled the darkness. He looked at the strange black and white demon beasts that were emitting a cold aura of light in front of him. He immediately thought of the members of the Dragon Assassin organization. However, how did this Wang Xian, Hu Yang Er's fiancé, end up with the Dragon Assassin organization? Could it be? In an instant, his forehead was filled with cold sweat. He couldn't help but take a few steps back as a look of panic appeared in his eyes. You are. He pointed at Wang Xian with his eyes wide open. Finding my underlings to assassinate me is really interesting. Wang Xian stared at him coldly. Gulp. Hearing Wang Xian say it out loud, the young man couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. A look of panic appeared on his face. How can you be the leader of the Dragon Assassin organization? No. You can't kill me. Otherwise, our Eternal Twin Foxes will not let you off. The young man stared at Wang Xian in disbelief as he roared. He couldn't believe it. He had hired an assassin to assassinate Wang Xian, but in the end, the leader of the assassin organization was him. This was simply a joke from the heavens. He was simply here to die. You should know better than to look for our dragon assassin organization. Would our dragon assassin organization be afraid of your eternal twin foxes? Ao Yarrow heard their words and said indifferently from the side. When the young man heard his words, he immediately felt his scalp go numb. He understood the dragon assassin organization, and he also knew that they relied on their special abilities to hide in the various planets. They were not afraid even if they had the strength of a god lord. No, no. Don't kill me, the young man said with a face full of fear. He looked around and wanted to escape. However, the thousands of pairs of eyes in front of him were staring at him, causing his body to tremble. Buzz. Wang Xian waved his arm and a grey hand grabbed his neck. The one who wants to kill me is you. Wang Xian grabbed him and said calmly. No, no, how can you be the leader of the dragon spikes? No. I'm not satisfied. The young man felt the suffocation coming from his neck. His face was flushed red as he roared indignantly. He was really unlucky. Before you die, let me introduce myself. My name is Dragon King. Wang Xian stared at him mockingly and exerted some strength with his palm. Dragon King. The young man widened his eyes. He was at a loss at first before a look of astonishment appeared on his face. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, who was a powerful force that was able to fight against the eternal thunderbolts in the northern region and was unafraid of a god-level force. How was that possible? His eyes widened so much that they almost bulged out. Buzz. At this moment, a gush of energy that was extinguished entered his mind, causing it to lose its vitality instantly. Buzz. Wang Xian closed his eyes slowly. He had already activated the soul-absorbing power. He wanted to check if there were still people behind him who wanted to kill him. The information was digested one after another. 10 minutes later, he slowly opened his eyes. A strong murderous intent shot out from his eyes. Divine Fox Knight. Wang Xian mumbled. Dragon King, do you want me to assassinate all the people involved? Ao Yarrow bowed and asked when he heard Wang Xian mention a name. They are currently living in the palace in the middle of the Double Fox continent. There is the Eternal Lord there. Let's not make a move for now. Wang Xian shook his head at Ao Yarrow. Even though Ao Yarrow had the combat strength of a peak godly state, he was still not as strong as the Eternal Lord. His concealment was useless in front of the Eternal Lord. Ao Yarrow and the rest could not take the risk. It was very easy to kill a disciple of the Eternal Double Foxes. All of you stay here for the time being. Wait for Ao Crab to come out. Tell him to wait for my order here. Wang Xian said with a twinkle in his eyes. It's the Dragon King, Strange Demon and the rest nodded their heads. Wang Xian moved his body and flew straight in the direction of the Double Fox continent. Did you hear? 4 days later, the Double Fox God is holding a disciple recruitment banquet. All factions are welcome to come. I already knew about this yesterday. Today, there is a very explosive matter. Princess Hu Yang'er's fiancé is not her real fiancé. It is a temporary measure that the fox-patterned celestial race had to take because of some matters. Oh, is that true? Could it be that after Princess Hu Yang'er was taken in as a disciple by the Double Fox God, her fiancé was unworthy and wanted to divorce her on purpose? I don't know the details, but this news was told by the disciples of the fox-patterned celestial race and the divine tiger dynasty. They are not engaged, so it shouldn't be a lie. No matter what, little Princess Hu Yang'er will be the only disciple of the master of twin foxes in the future. Her fiancé is unworthy. That's true. However, that fellow should have received a lot of benefits. He should know his place. The only person who is worthy of Princess Hu Yang'er is probably the most outstanding disciple of the eternal twin foxes. When Wang Xian had just arrived at the twin foxes continent, he heard discussions coming from the surrounding. Recently, the matter of the master of twin foxes taking in a disciple had even surpassed some of the matters in the tomb of the god. Especially today, The news that some disciples of the divine tiger dynasty and the fox-patterned celestial race had spread had caused everyone to be in a heated discussion. When Wang Xian heard the voices around him, he was slightly stunned. His eyes were sparkling. It seems like the divine tiger dynasty and the fox-patterned celestial race don't think that I'm worthy of them. Hu Fei shouldn't be such a person. Although, from the long-term perspective of a family, their actions are right. But Wang Xian mumbled as his eyes flashed with a cold glint. He walked straight to his residence. He wanted to see what would happen next. Unless Hu Yang opened her mouth, he wanted to see if there were any problems waiting for him, or if there was someone who wanted him dead. In the end, even if Hu Yang opened her mouth to ask him to leave, he would take the life of that person who was courting death before leaving. No one could stop him. Soon, there was no one in the entire boundless galaxy. A strong sense of confidence emanated from Wang Xian. A faint smile appeared on his face. This was his foundation. Chapter 2195. 2195 at the 2195 Disciple Recruitment Banquet. What's going on? Why isn't Divine Fox Ming here yet? Did something happen? The sky was getting dark. In the palace in the middle of the Twin Fox continent, Divine Fox was walking around in a room non-stop. He frowned and revealed an embarrassed expression. It had been more than half a day since Divine Fox Ming left in the morning. Based on his understanding of Divine Fox Ming, he would definitely report to him as soon as he was done. However, more than half a day had passed and he still had not returned. He was certain that something must have happened to Divine Fox Ming. What could it be? I have also learned about the Dragon Assassin organization today. It is definitely a powerful organization that can be trusted. He mumbled to himself as he had a bad feeling in his heart. If Wang Xian is still alive tomorrow and if the Divine Fox Ming doesn't appear tomorrow, then something bad will happen. The Divine Fox Knight sat on a chair with a gloomy face. In the courtyard outside the palace, Wang Xian had already arrived at the courtyard. He was looking through some information on the eternal twin foxes. The night passed very quickly. In the morning, Wang Xian walked out of the courtyard and headed towards the outside. However, just as he walked out of the courtyard and was about to head towards the palace, two figures walked towards him. The two old men were exuding a powerful aura. They held onto Wang Xian and walked straight towards him. Wang Xian looked at the two of them and paused for a moment. Little brother Wang Xian, are you going to the palace? An old man came over and asked him directly. Yes. Wang Xian looked at the clothes on their bodies. It was the attire of the divine tiger dynasty. His eyes flickered. It was obvious that they were the people arranged by the Tiger Emperor and the Empress. Little brother, there's no need to go. Princess Hu Yang is currently studying etiquette in the palace. It's best for outsiders not to disturb her, an old man said directly. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and stared at them coldly. Did your Tiger Emperor and Empress say that? No matter who said it, you should take a look at your identity. A toad can't eat swan meat. The two old men saw his cold expression and said coldly as well. All right. Remember what you said today. Wang Xian looked at them calmly and said coldly. After that, he returned to his own courtyard. HMPH, you want us to remember it? Why don't you take a look at your own strength? The people from the Foxmark celestial race also said that his background is mysterious. How mysterious can he be? How strong can he be? The two of them said with a look of disdain. Their voices were not concealed at all. Wang Xian could hear them clearly. Wang Xian smiled gently as a cold glint flashed across his eyes. He didn't die as expected. Damn it. Could it be that there was a problem when Divine Fox Ming went to pay the reward? Or did the Dragon Assassin organization leave him there? In a high-level building in the palace, Divine Fox Knight looked at Wang Xian's figure with a gloomy expression. God Fox Ming had disappeared and lost all contact with him. There are still 2 days left. I must get rid of him. I must. God Fox Knight clenched his fists tightly. His face was filled with killing intent. Do it himself? No, the other party seems to have a powerful subordinate. An assassin organization? I'm afraid it's too late now. God Fox Knight's expression kept changing. If Wang Xian was an ordinary disciple of an ordinary faction, he could have directly asked the experts of the Eternal Twin Foxes to help him. However, he was now Hu Yang-er's fiancé. If he wanted someone to kill him, he would have to find an assassin or ask a trustworthy expert to do it. Otherwise, once the matter was exposed, he might be in danger himself. Father and mother are here today. They are with Hu Yang-er now. Tell father about this matter. Naturally, he could trust his father. Furthermore, with his father's current status and strength, he had many more methods than him. Godly Fox Knight frowned and walked straight to the center of the palace. Brother, why isn't Brother Wang Xian here today? In the center of the palace, Hu Yang-er walked to her brother's side and asked softly, "This? I'm not sure about this either. Perhaps Brother Wang Xian is a little busy." Hu Ji's eyes flickered when he saw his sister's question. Naturally, he knew why Wang Xian didn't come. Not to mention him, even his father and grandfather couldn't object to some of the decisions made by the Tiger Emperor and the Empress. Is he a little busy? Hu Yang-er's brows were knitted tightly together. Sister, why don't you use the communication stone to interrogate him? Hu Ji hesitated for a moment and said to her, yes. Hu Yang-er also felt that she needed to take the initiative to contact Brother Wang Xian. Hihi, Yang-er, you are now the disciple of the Eternal Lord. Perhaps your fiancé feels that he is not good enough for you, so he took the initiative to leave. Also, our Yang-er's identity is different from the past. We have to set our sights higher. There are many people in this world who are much more outstanding than your Wang Xian. Look at those outstanding disciples of the Eternal Twin Foxes. Which one of them is not as outstanding as yours? At this moment, the Empress walked over and held Hu Yang-er's arm with a friendly expression. She said with a smile, Empress, Hu Yang-er opened her mouth, wanting to refute. I know. Yang-er, you're still too young. Come. Some of the Eternal Twin Foxes experts, the descendants of the Lord God, have rushed over. They want to meet our little princess. Let's go over and get to know each other. There are quite a few outstanding disciples there. The Empress brought him to a seat at the side with an amiable expression. Today was a day that made her feel very proud. The eternal double fox core expert who used to be high and mighty, the descendant of the God Lord, was now chatting with him with an amiable expression. This made her vanity greatly satisfied. All of this was because of the girl in front of her. This made her even more determined. She must make Yang-er become the eternal double foxes person. She must not let that wild boy cause trouble. Hu Yang-er smiled bitterly and followed him. Soon, dozens of middle-aged men with extraordinary temperaments surrounded her. They were trying to curry favor with Hu Yang-er. Yang-er, look. That is Divine Fox Knight. He is the most outstanding youth of the Eternal Twin Foxes. He has already lit 3 wisps of divine fire at such a young age. He will definitely be the pillar of the Eternal Twin Foxes in the future. Look at how handsome he is. He is more than 10 times stronger than your fiancé who is not worthy of you. Not long after, when the Empress saw Divine Fox Knight arrive, she softly introduced him to her. Your Majesty, I need to rest for a while. When Hu Yang-er heard her incessant speech, she felt a little unhappy and directly said this. The Empress' expression changed slightly as she watched Hu Yang-er leave. Her expression was uncertain. This child is still too young. She squeezed out a smile and continued to chat with some of the Eternal Twin Foxes. Chapter 2196. 2196 at the 2196 Disciple Recruitment Banquet. Our Yang-er's engagement with the young man back then was only a temporary measure. If we don't do it for real, how could that young man be as outstanding as the Eternal Twin Fox's disciple? Now that Yang-er has been taken in as a disciple by the dual Fox Godlord, only the Eternal Twin Fox's elite disciple can match her. Then look at our Xiao Yi. He is our Eternal Twin Fox's most elite disciple. I think we can do it. Let him have more contact with our Yang-er. The double fox god lord accepted a personal disciple and even said that he might pass on the Eternal Twin Foxes to her in the future. For the entire Eternal Twin Foxes, this was comparable to changing dynasties. Countless eternal twin foxes experts immediately rushed over towards Hu Yang. They also had a trace of flattery and fawning. Even if many of them were the descendants of the God Lord, Hu Yang-er's position in the future would be much higher than theirs. If any kid could marry Hu Yang-er, it would be of great benefit to them. Many people from the eternal twin foxes were talking with Empress Hu Fei and the others with warm faces. This Ling Hu Fei's heart was filled with bitterness. Divine Fox Ming has disappeared. In a corner, Divine Fox Knight stood beside a middle-aged man with a slight frown. Yes, father. Divine Fox Knight's expression was somewhat unsightly as he nodded his head. I'll handle this matter. Your current task is to please that Hu Yang and see if you can give her a good impression. The power of the descendants in our eternal twin foxes is definitely not low. The middle-aged man thought for a moment and said to him, "It's father." Divine Fox Knight nodded, and a smile appeared on his face. He was relieved that his father was personally handling this matter. Princess Yang. He chatted with his father for a while, and then walked straight towards Hu Yang. This Divine Tiger Dynasty's empress is very tactful, and knows that Hu Yang must marry into our eternal twin foxes. Elder, that empress said that in the past, the Foxmark Divine clan had arranged a marriage for Princess Hu Yang. Princess Hu Yang is more obedient and won't go against the arrangements of her relatives. She can get Yang-er's father to arrange another marriage for her. Arrange another marriage? Let's talk about it in the future. As long as Hu Yang marries our eternal twin fox's disciple, it will be fine. A few elders were chatting at the side, looking at the Divine Tiger Dynasty's empress and tiger emperor with satisfied expressions. More and more people were coming to the fallen immortal God Island, especially the eternal twin fox's disciples and experts. At least 60 to 70% of them had already arrived. Eternal twin fox's disciples and divine realm experts could be seen everywhere. The double fox godlord taking in disciples caused the focus of the entire eternal twin foxes to shift from the divine tomb to the godlord taking in disciples in a few days. In the entire western region, the other factions were also discussing the matter of the godlord's disciple recruitment. In a few days, the Double Fox Godlord's disciple recruitment banquet would be held. They had to come and present a congratulatory gift. For the entire Western region, this was a major event. There was still one day before the Double Fox Godlord's disciple recruitment banquet. A major event had occurred on the fallen immortal island. Another God Lord level expert had arrived and broken through the defenses of a divine island and entered. At that time, people only saw a bright green light. Some people guessed that the divine Leaf Master from the east had come to seek treasures. On the same day, the Seven-Star Master and the violent new demonic Nightmare Master from the central region came out of the divine tomb. As for whether they had obtained any treasures, no one knew. The entire fallen immortal island was abnormally lively. Everyone was discussing the matter of the Double Fox Celestial Master accepting disciples. Brother Wang Xian, are you in the courtyard? I'll look for you secretly later. I'm so nervous right now. I have to go through the apprenticeship ceremony tomorrow. In the courtyard where Wang Xian was, he looked at the information on the communication stone plate and revealed a faint smile. A day ago, Hu Yang had asked him why he didn't come to look for her these 2 days. Wang Xian found a random reason to muddle through. Hence, the two of them contacted each other using the communication stone plate. Hu Yang told him a lot of things that had happened in the past 2 days. Sure, come over. Wang Xian replied with a smile on his face. He could sense Hu Yang-er's dependence on him. Brother Wang Xian. In less than 10 minutes, Hu Yang-er, whom he had not seen for 4 days, ran over and shouted at Wang Xian who was in the courtyard. I haven't seen you for a few days, and you've become prettier again. Wang Xian looked at her gorgeous clothes and perfect figure. Her fox tail was swaying, showing her happy expression. No way. Brother Wang Xian, you're so annoying. You haven't come to look for me for the past few days. Hu Yang sat at the side shyly and complained to him. Yang-er's identity is different now. I can't disturb you every day. Wang Xian said with a smile. What identity? Yang-er is still the same Yang-er from before. I've been annoyed to death these few days. Hu Yang pouted and said, Yang-er, tell me, If I were to ask you to give up your identity as the master's disciple and come with me, would you be willing? Wang Xian suddenly looked at her and asked. Ah! Hu Yang'er was slightly stunned. Following that, her face quickly turned red. I know. The reason why I was able to get the double fox godlord to accept me as his disciple was because of brother Wang Xian. It doesn't matter if I can become the godlord's disciple. She lowered her head and said anxiously, make a serious decision. Wang Xian said to her once again, I. At this moment, Hu Yang'er suddenly raised her head and looked at Wang Xian with her chest heaving up and down. Of course I'm serious. These few days, I feel that I might as well stay in my family. As she spoke, her eyes sparkled with tears. It was as though Wang Xian's question had made her feel wronged. All right, I know. Wang Xian rubbed her head with a smile on his face. I'll pour you a cup of tea. I'll be there tomorrow. He smiled and took out a teacup. He placed the precious tea leaves on it. Brother Wang Xian, why don't you join the eternal twin foxes? Hu Yang'er said to him. We'll talk about this later. While conversing with Hu Yang'er, Wang Xian finally understood Hu Yang'er's attitude. Knowing her attitude was enough. As for the Tiger Emperor and Empress of the Divine Tiger Dynasty, who were they? After chatting with Hu Yang'er for more than an hour, she left reluctantly. After sending Hu Yang'er to the palace, Wang Xian walked towards his residence. Come out. When he arrived at the courtyard, he stood there and shouted softly. Ao Crab greets Dragon King. Ao Crab, who had turned into a middle-aged man, knelt on the ground and bowed respectfully to Wang Xian. You have stepped into the realm of the eternal Divine Lord. Not bad. Wang Xian looked at Ao Crab with great satisfaction, as expected of the Dragon King. Now, the entire boundless sea has been ruled by my subordinates. Ao Crab said respectfully. Have you brought all your subordinates? We might have to fight with a divine lord tomorrow. Wang Xian stared at him and said with narrowed eyes. Dragon King, most of my subordinates are in the boundless sea. I will go back and bring them over quickly. He raised his head and replied. Go. Wang Xian ordered indifferently. Yes. His eyes were sparkling as he stood up and left immediately. Chapter 2197. 2197 at the 2197 Disciple Recruitment Banquet. The night was slightly chilly. Wang Xian stood in the courtyard with a smile on his face. As he watched Ao Crab leave, his eyes sparkled. There had been a lot of news in the past few days, especially regarding Hu Yang'er and her fiancé. As for the news regarding him, he was very clear. A lot of the news came from the Divine Tiger Dynasty and the Hu-Wen Celestial race. Hu Yang'er's father and brother were very satisfied with Wang Xian. However, the higher-ups of the Hu-Wen Celestial race naturally didn't want Wang Xian to become their fiancé for the benefit of the Hu-Wen Celestial race. Because he wasn't worthy. Make your move after dawn. Don't make any mistakes. At this moment, in a room in the palace, a middle-aged man said to the black figure in front of him. Yes, my lord. The black shadow nodded and flew out. A kid is actually so tactless and cannot live. The middle-aged man looked at the back of the black shadow that disappeared and said indifferently, we must get rid of him. Today, Hu Yang'er actually went out to look for him. A young man sitting at the side said with a ferocious face, don't worry. Ying's strength has already ignited 8 wisps of divine fire. It's easy to kill him. The middle-aged man said indifferently. I don't know what exactly happened to Divine Fox Call. I've asked someone to investigate it over the past 2 days, but there's no information at all. The middle-aged man continued to say with a slight frown. Divine Fox Knight shook her head at the side, indicating that she didn't know. It was late at night. Wang Xian sat cross-legged on the bed and cultivated quietly. Buzz. The space trembled slightly as Wang Xian slowly opened his eyes. Sigh, the last time, at least the strongest person from the Dragon Assassin organization took action. This time, only 8 wisps of godly fire god came. You guys really look down on me. A soft voice came out from Wang Xian's mouth. In the darkness, the figure froze and his eyes were filled with fear. At the next moment, a great terror enveloped him. His body trembled violently and he slowly fell to the ground. Wang Xian closed his eyes slightly and absorbed the memories of the black figure. Divine Fox Howren. Divine Fox Knight's father. He looked at the corpse on the ground and waved his arm, keeping it into his interspatial ring. After getting off the bed, he hesitated for a moment and walked out. After leaving the courtyard, Wang Xian headed straight for the meteorite where the dragon guards and the rest were. Dragon King. A type of dragon guard and strange demon shouted respectfully when they saw Wang Xian. Yes. Wang Xian glanced at them and nodded his head. There were more than 80 dragon guards who possessed the combat strength of the godly state, while the Dragon Spur division had about 100 of them who possessed the combat strength of the godly state. There were more than 180 godly state experts in the two departments of the Dragon Palace. Coupled with Ao Jian and Ao Yarrow who were at the peak of the godly state, their strength could be considered top-notch in all the major factions. I'll bring them over to take a look tomorrow. Wang Xian thought to himself as he sat cross-legged on the ground and waited. Hey! Why isn't Ying here yet? Time passed very quickly. In the palace at the center of the Twin Fox continent, the divine Fox Howren frowned slightly as his expression slowly turned ugly. The subordinates that were sent out had not arrived for more than an hour. Something must have happened. Damn it. It seems that that kid has an expert protecting him. It seems that his strength is not very weak. Divine Fox Howren growled with a gloomy face. Father, then what should we do? Divine Fox Knight's expression was also extremely ugly as she frowned and asked. We can only wait. That kid must be on guard now. Let him live for a few more days. There is no one that the eternal twin foxes can't kill, God Fox Howren said with a cold face. God Fox Knight looked a little disappointed, but he could only give up now. Tomorrow was the time for their double fox god lord to take in a disciple. At this juncture, nothing could happen. The night passed quickly. The next day, the entire Twin Fox continent was like boiling water, and it quickly became lively. Early in the morning, towering platforms were set up in a square in the Twin Fox continent. The square was dozens of kilometers in size. Tens of millions of people gathered there, but it was not crowded at all. Early in the morning, all the eternal Twin Fox experts arrived early in the morning, and began to prepare for their Lord God Lords taking in disciples. Today, many of the forces that had been surrounding the deity tomb of the fallen immortal God Island were temporarily put on hold and headed towards the Twin Foxes continent. Especially for the forces of the Western region, no expert dared not to come. Around 10 a.m., the eternal Twin Foxes had hundreds of thousands of people, and many experts were already sitting in front of the stage. Some of the major forces of the Western region respectfully brought gifts and sat in the surroundings under the arrangement of the eternal Twin Foxes. The disciple acceptance ceremony of the Divine Master of the Twin Foxes would be held at 11 o'clock. It would start in an hour. Where's brother Wang Xian? He said he came to visit me yesterday. Hu Yang swept her gaze across her brother and father as well as the members of the fox-patterned celestial race. She asked in puzzlement. Sigh, Yang don't think about some things. You're still young. Hurry up and make some preparations. We're going to bring you there soon. Hu Fei sighed slightly and said to her, Ah! Hu Yang was slightly stunned when she heard her father's word. Even though she was slow-witted, she had discovered a problem in the past few days. Recalling what brother Wang Xian had told her yesterday, she was slightly absent-minded. The disciple of the Master of God. She suddenly muttered, Let's go. At the same time, at the location of the meteorite, Wang Xian said softly to the group of Dragon Guard. Yes, all Dragon Guards, get ready. Ao Jian said to the Dragon Guards. Clang, clang, clang. One by one, the Dragon Guards stood behind Wang Xian with metal swords in their hand. Ao Yarrow stood on the left side of Wang Xian. All the strange demons, hide in the surroundings. Ao Yarrow stood on the right side of Wang Xian and commanded all the strange demons. Buzz, buzz, buzz. One by one, the members of the Dragon Thorns immediately hid in the surroundings of the Dragon Guard. Wang Xian moved his body and flew straight towards the eternal Double Fox continent. In the surroundings, there were also powerful forces bringing their disciples over. Some of the forces looked at Wang Xian and the rest curiously. Their faces were filled with curiosity. The aura emitted by more than 2,000 dragon guards was obviously not an ordinary powerhouse. There are so many people. It seems that almost all the forces in the entire Western region have arrived. After all, he is the only disciple that Double Fox God Lord took in. He is even being groomed as an inheritor. Naturally, his reputation is great. Just what kind of talent does that Hu Yang have? She was actually able to make God Lord take her in as his personal disciple. Almost 60 to 70% of the experts of the Eternal Double Fox have arrived. There are so many gods. At the entrance of the huge square, the ground was covered with luxurious gemstones. Right in front of them sat a group of people from the Eternal Double Fox. In 2 rows, the people from the major powers of the Western region were sitting neatly. As the Master of God and Hu Yang were not present, the entire square was slightly noisy. Wang Xian looked at the huge entrance and walked forward slowly. Chapter 2198. 2198 2198 stepped onto the stage. Wang Xian looked at the road leading to the entrance and walked on the gorgeous and resplendent road. Behind him, a group of dragon guards accompanied him like a pair of ice-cold divine sword. When he entered, there were huge viewing platforms on both sides. Who are the factions? State your names. Not far from the entrance, more than 10 middle-aged men with eternal twin foxes were standing there, arranging seats for each faction. Seeing Wang Xian and the rest enter, a middle-aged man asked indifferently. Nameless small faction. Wang Xian looked at the middle-aged man and said with a smile, "Hey, it's you." All of a sudden, the expression of a young man beside him changed. He sized up Wang Xian from head to toe. "Mistress, why? Do you know them?" The middle-aged man looked at the young man beside him and asked in puzzlement. "Second uncle, he is that Wang Xian, the ex-fiancé of our princess Hu Yang. The young man whispered to the middle-aged man. "Huh?" The middle-aged man was slightly stunned. He looked at Wang Xian in astonishment as his eyes sparkled. Naturally, they were very clear about the fiancé of their future princess. At the same time, they were also very dissatisfied with Princess Hu Yang's fiancé, even if they had never seen him before. This was because this fiancé would be riding on the heads of most of them, the eternal twin foxes. He was just an outsider. It was fine if he was the disciple of the Master of Gods, but what was the fiancé of his disciple? In addition to the attitude of the twin foxes and the divine tiger dynasty towards this fiancé in the past few days, the disciples of the eternal twin foxes did not put him in their eyes. This young man was not worthy of their little princess eternal twin foxes. So it's that toad who wants swan meat. The middle-aged man looked at Wang Xian and said with slight disdain, "Watch your words." Clang. As soon as he finished his sentence, an ice-cold sharp sword was placed on the middle-aged man's neck. The speed was so fast that the middle-aged man could not react at all. In an instant, the middle-aged man's forehead was covered in cold sweat. "You're courting death. Stop right now." When the eternal twin fox disciples saw this scene, their expressions changed as they shouted loudly, "Oh! What happened? What?" He actually dared to place the sword on the eternal twin fox disciple's neck. Is this a provocation? He's simply courting death. In the surroundings of the square, one by one, the forces that had arrived were attracted by the commotion at the entrance. Everyone was dumbstruck as they looked over. The square looked very big, but all of them were experts. There were thousands of godly state experts. A distance of more than 10 kilometers was the distance of dozens of meters for them. Everything and sounds could be clearly reflected in their mind. Seeing that someone actually dared to put a sword on the neck of the eternal twin fox disciples, everyone was somewhat incredulous. Was he here to court death? There were more than 1,000 eternal twin fox divine realm experts around. He actually dared to use his sword in this place. Hey! At the front, the expressions of the eternal twin fox experts changed slightly when they saw this scene. His courting death. A few of the experts stood up immediately with furious expressions. Killing intent shot out from their eyes. "Sit down." An expert at the peak of the godly state looked at Wang Xian in front of him and frowned slightly. That's Princess Hu Yang-er's fiancé. Don't worry about him for now. He reminded him lightly. That's Princess Hu Yang-er's fiancé? Him? How dare he cause trouble in our eternal twin foxes? Fiancé? Is he even worthy? Most of the people from the eternal twin foxes had never met Wang Xian before. When they heard the elder's words, all of them had looks of disdain and curiosity on their faces. The elders from the eternal twin foxes did not move because they knew something. They, Hu Yang-er, had a good impression of this young man. At this moment, they would not offend this young man, at least not on the surface. However, there was an elder whose eyes were sparkling. This Wang Xian is a little reckless in this kind of situation. He's courting death. Why doesn't he take a look at his status? He even wants to marry our Princess Hu Yang-er. The ordinary disciples of the Hu Wen celestial race and the divine tiger dynasty, who were located next to the eternal twin foxes, stared ahead with cold faces. So that young man is Princess Hu Yang-er's fiancé. It's him. Didn't they say that the engagement between him and Princess Hu Yang-er was just a temporary measure? It's not true. Who knows what's going on here? But clearly, Princess Hu Yang-er's meteoric rise is not something he can match up to. Under such circumstances, the Foxmark celestial race and the eternal twin foxes definitely won't let Hu Yang-er marry another young man. Could it be that he's unwilling to accept this and wants to cause trouble? Is he courting death? Very soon, all the major forces in the square knew the identity of the young man at the entrant. They sized up Wang Xian with curiosity. Stop. Wang Xian said to Ao Jian lightly. His gaze swept across the surroundings and landed on the eternal twin foxes in the middle. A cold smile appeared on his face. He could clearly hear the discussions around him. We are here to observe the ceremony. May I know where to sit? Wang Xian ignored the discussions and asked the pale-faced middle-aged man in front of him. As the sharp sword was removed, the middle-aged man's expression kept changing. He stared at Wang Xian with hatred in the depths of his eyes. Since it's a ceremony, all of you can sit here. The middle-aged man pointed at the position closest to the entrance with a gloomy expression. This position was naturally the worst position. The stronger the faction, the closer they were to the front. By arranging this place, it was obvious that the middle-aged man still didn't put Wang Xian and the rest in his eyes. However, the middle-aged man wasn't afraid of offending him because he was destined to not be able to marry Princess Hu Yang-er. Of course, the middle-aged man didn't dare to offend him like he did just now. If the other party were to seriously injure him, he wouldn't be punished even if he had the relationship with Princess Hu Yang-er. All right. Wang Xian didn't mind it and walked straight to the side. This eternal twin foxes is looking down on that young man. The Foxmark celestial race has already said that he can't be considered as Princess Hu Yang-er's fiancé. What's there to be afraid of about the eternal twin foxes? That young man is asking for humiliation. When the surrounding factions saw this scene, they discussed it curiously. They looked at Wang Xian with mockery and sympathy. What a pitiful fellow. This isn't enough. Just a nameless kid with an undeserved status actually dares to point his sword at our disciple and provoke us, the eternal twin foxes. Teach him a lesson. Even if Princess Hu Yang-er sees this, she will only feel that he is even more incompetent. In the middle, the elder, the divine fox Shi Hu, suddenly spoke indifferently. Oh, old Hu, our eternal twin foxes cannot make a move. An elder at the side was slightly taken aback, frowning as he looked at him. Casually ordering a faction can cause them to be humiliated. The elder spoke indifferently. The few elders who heard from the side slightly raised their heads. A brat daring to provoke their eternal twin foxes indeed made them unhappy. To provoke them, they had to pay the price. Although they could not kill him, they could humiliate him in public. At that time, Princess Hu Yang-er might be even more disappointed in him, killing two birds with one stone. It had nothing to do with them, the eternal twin foxes. Chapter 2199. 2199-2199 stepped onto the stage. The arrival of Wang Xian caused quite a stir. The fiancé of today's main character, a fiancé that caused the eternal double fox and the fox-patterned celestial race to be denied recognition. Although the Divine Fox West Teapot was dissatisfied with the work of the Divine Fox Knight, he did not take it to heart. He did not get rid of it a few days ago, and it was not too late after that. Oh, that seems to be Brother Ao Gen. This Brother Ao Gen is that young man's subordinate. However, at this time, in front of him, an old man stared at Ao Gen, his eyes shining. He muttered with a face full of surprise. "Grand Elder, what's wrong?" A middle-aged man at the side heard his words, and his face showed surprise. "It's nothing. I met a friend who is very strong. His swordsmanship is unrivaled." The old man shook his head and frowned slightly. That seems to be him." It wasn't just the old man. All the forces around him were paying attention to Wang Xian and the rest at the entrant. Some of them moved away from Wang Xian's position and looked at the more than 2,000 subordinates around him. Their eyes revealed a look of doubt and surprise. Some of the swordsmen were familiar to them. Wang Xian sat upright on his seat. He looked at the center of the seat with an expressionless face and waited there quietly. He completely ignored the discussions around him. At the entrance, various major forces kept entering. Most of the forces from the western region had basically arrived. There were also some forces from the central region who came over to watch the show. "They're here. Get ready to watch the show." At the front center, Divine Fox Shihu looked at the group of people entering the entrance with a smile on his face. "Oh, look at the entrance. It's a space pirate. How dare this group of people come over? Space pirates. Notorious fellows. I didn't expect them to come over to watch the show." At the entrance of the square, a group of people suddenly came in. There were about 5,000 people in a row. They were all wearing black uniforms. The black uniform had a picture of a skull embroidered on the chest area. The most eye-catching part was the hat on their heads. It was a black hat that looked like a sailboat. A special uniform, a special hat. Many people recognized them at a glance. The space pirates were a powerful force active around the central area. The space pirates did not have a good reputation. Just like their names, they were a group of pirate. However, they were able to become space pirates. Their strength was unquestionable. It was said that they had 4 to 5 pirate captains with 9 wisps of divine fire. Without the strength of peak deity realm, they really did not dare to provoke them. Wandering in the void, they specifically targeted some relatively weaker forces. Seeing their arrival, some forces stared coldly at them. "Double Fox God Lord has accepted a disciple. We have come to pay our respects and present a congratulatory gift." The leading pirate captain held a skull staff in his hand and said respectfully to the eternal Double Fox disciples at the entrant, "Visitors are guests. Today, we welcome everyone to come." The eternal Double Fox disciples were obviously very satisfied with their attitude. "You guys go over there." An eternal twin fox middle-aged man pointed at a position in front of them. The strength of the space pirates was not weak. There were 4 to 5 pirate captains and 50 to 60 gods who had ignited the divine fire. The eternal twin fox arranged a position for them inside. There's no need. Our reputation isn't very good, so we won't go in. We'll just sit by the side." The pirate captain said with a smile, pointing to the side. "Of course there's no problem." The eternal Double Fox middle-aged man nodded. The space pirates are quite tactful. Some forces said indifferently when they saw them sitting at the entrant. The noble forces with powerful backgrounds looked down on these pirates, especially those who were at the peak of the godly state. Keek. A few pirate captains who were walking in the middle heard some noises around them and smiled faintly. They looked at each other and looked at the seats at the entrance. Their eyes landed on Wang Xian and the rest, and their eyes sparkled. Hey, kid, what kind of force are you guys from? You guys are actually sitting at the entrance. Could it be that you guys are even more notorious than us space pirates?" A pirate captain glanced at Wang Xian and the rest and asked mockingly. His voice was not soft and everyone who was paying attention to him could hear him clearly. What are these space pirates doing? They are indeed a bunch of locusts. They are after all the fiancé of little princess Hu Yang. Some of them looked over and whispered. Wang Xian's gaze swept across them and ignored them coldly. Hey! Princess Hu Yang'er's fiancé? A pirate captain deliberately sized up Wang Xian in surprise and exclaimed. A gigolo like you still wants to be Princess Hu Yang'er's fiancé? Haha, take a look at yourself. If a gigolo like you could become Princess Hu Yang'er's fiancé, I would be able to be taken in as a disciple by the double fox god. Haha. A pirate on the pirate ship laughed and pointed at Wang Xian as he mocked without restraint. His voice was so loud that everyone could hear it clearly. Third brother, haven't you heard about the recent events? Little Princess Hu Yang'er has no official engagement with him. How could someone like him be worthy of the god's disciple? A pirate captain beside him echoed with a smile on his face. TSK, 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 that's true. How could someone like him be a match for the God Lord's disciple? TSK, 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 what's he doing sitting at the door this time? He's sticking close to Princess Hu Yang'er. That's very possible. Otherwise, the people of the Foxmark divine race have already said that the two of them aren't engaged. Why is he still here? Isn't he trying to take advantage of us? Haha. A few pirate ships in the middle were discussing with derision on their faces. This mockery is too heart-wrenching. It seems like he is deliberately finding trouble with Princess Hu Yang'er's fiancé. He is deliberately mocking us. This is a complete humiliation. Furthermore, he is being humiliated by the notorious space pirate. When everyone saw this scene, they looked at Wang Xian with slight sympathy. It was too embarrassing to be humiliated in public by a pirate organization, not only him, but also Princess Hu Yang'er. At this moment, everyone could not help but feel that it was fortunate that the engagement between Princess Hu Yang'er and him was not real. It's really embarrassing for the people of the fox-pattern celestial race. When some ordinary disciples of the fox-pattern celestial race saw this scene, their faces turned gloomy. Hee, a guy who can even be mocked by a pirate organization, what right does he have to marry the disciple of our master of twin foxes? In the middle, everyone from the eternal twin foxes stared at Wang Xian, who was sitting at the entrance with a face full of mockery. They were filled with disdain. Kid, I see that you have some strength. Don't even think about marrying the disciple of the master of twin foxes. Are you going to fight pirates with us? I can bring you along. At this moment, a pirate captain walked up to Wang Xian and slapped him on the head. He said mockingly, Chapter 2200. 2200 Dragon Palaces. Dragon King. 1. They are going to humiliate that young man to death. Around them, millions of people watched as a pirate captain walked towards Wang Xian. He actually wanted to reach out his hand and touch his head. Many of them were stunned. One had to know that the strength of the galactic pirates was not weak. Only those who were at the peak of the godly state could suppress them. Hu Yang'er's fiancé didn't seem to be able to do it. How could that young man still have the face to stay here after being humiliated like this? Trash. When the ordinary disciples of the Hu Wen celestial race, the people from the divine tiger dynasty, and the people from the eternal twin foxes in the center saw this scene, they spat out two words. You brought this on yourself. Wang Xian had been sitting there calmly, ignoring their mockery. When he saw a middle-aged man walking towards him with a face full of taunts, he said softly, You have brought this on yourself. Hehe, you are right, kid. When the middle-aged pirate captain heard his words, the taunts in his eyes were even more intense. The pirates of the starry sky had received the orders of a big shot. Naturally, it was easy for them to humiliate a kid. They could even kill him if they wanted to, let alone humiliate him. Clang. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly. However, at this moment, a bone-piercing sword radiance pierced into his eyes, causing his heart to tremble. Following that, he wanted to use his hand to block the bone-piercing sword radiance. However, he was horrified to discover that his head and body had been separated. His eyes widened. His eyes were filled with astonishment and disbelief. Leave no one alive. The headless corpse in front of Wang Xian ordered indifferently. Clang, 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 clang. In the next moment, an incomparably cold sword ray filled the entire square. All the dragon guards stood up. They were holding cold longswords in their hands. Whoosh. Whoosh, whoosh. More than 2,000 dragon guards did not hesitate at all. Their long swords instantly attacked the pirates in the starry sky. The ice-cold killing intent and sword chi made the entire area seem like an ancient sword battlefield. Ao Jian held the long sword in his hand. There was not the slightest emotion in his eyes. After killing a pirate captain with 9 wisps of divine fire, there was not the slightest fluctuation. His figure flashed, like a divine sword, and he attacked the other 4 pirate captains. What? You actually attacked here? Damn it. The pirate captains' expressions changed drastically when they saw the Dragon Guard's sudden attack and the head of one of the pirate captains flying into the sky. Whoosh. Before they could make any moves, numerous sharp swords had already arrived in front of them. The sharp swords were filled with an icy aura and the sword rays were bone-piercing. Even though they had already ignited 9 wisps of divine fire, they still felt extremely terrifying. A pirate captain with 9 wisps of divine fire was instantly decapitated without the slightest ability to react. The second one. The miserable screams resounded throughout the entire square. At this moment, everyone's expression changed instantly. Boom. In the center of the square, the divine fox Shihu suddenly stood up. An extremely embarrassed expression appeared on his face. Around him, the disciples of the eternal twin foxes also stood up with an embarrassed expression. That Wang Xian actually dared to kill people here. Today was the day that their master god would take in his disciples. They actually dared to kill people. Stop. An expert at the peak of the divine realm of the eternal twin foxes could not help but shout sternly. However, what greeted them was a series of extremely tragic screams. Everyone looked at the entrance in shock. Those 2,000-plus swordsmen were facing 5,000 members of the space pirates and 5,000 elite members. Among them, there were 40 to 50 divine realm experts and 5 who had ignited 9 wisps of divine fire. However, at this moment, they actually didn't have the strength to resist at all. One by one, sharp swords easily cut off the heads of the space pirate. Even those 40 to 50 divine realm experts didn't have the strength to resist when facing those powerful and terrifying swordsmen. At this moment, the surroundings were completely silent. Everyone was dumbstruck as they watched this scene. Their faces were filled with shock. No, no, no. Run, run. Bang, bang, bang. The screams were abnormally ear-piercing. The corpses and heads fell to the ground, unable to resist at all. A massacre. More than 2,000 dragon guards and more than 80 divine realm expert. In addition to Ao Yarrow, who was at the peak of the godly state. With the ruthless sword principle and the powerful suppression, 5,000 members of the space pirates died in a horrifying manner. 30 seconds. Within 30 seconds, the sword radiance disappeared. The heads of the surrounding corpses were rolling. How dare you? Wang Xian, are you courting death? When the divine fox Shihu and the rest saw this scene, their expressions were extremely ugly. A few experts at the peak of the godly state could not help but fly into the air. Their terrifying aura pressed down on Wang Xian and the rest. Clang. The sound of a sword resonated throughout the heaven and earth. In the sky above Ao Jian, a golden holy longsword was suspended in the air. He stared coldly at the few experts at the peak of the godly state, the eternal double fox. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. When the holy longsword was in the air, the sharp swords on the bodies of the people who were wearing the longswords around them trembled. Hiss. At this moment, the millions of people in the square sucked in a breath of cold air. What a terrifying sword ray, what a terrifying sword. Peak Divine Realm, that middle-aged swordsman is a peak Divine Realm expert. He is actually Hu Yang Er's fiancé's subordinate. This is so arrogant, directly killing 5,000 people in the field where the God Lord takes disciples. This space pirate probably wouldn't have thought that the person they provoked would be so terrifying even before he died. Everyone stared at Ao Jian and the others in shock as they discuss. They were surprised that the young man would be humiliated by the space pirate, but they did not expect him to be so powerful. He was also so unbridled. He directly ordered his subordinates to kill 5,000 space pirate. Not a single one was left alive. Their strength is also so strong. If I'm not wrong, among those 2,000 people, the weakest is a rank 9 demigod. There are more than 80 God Realm experts, and there is also a peak God Realm expert. All of them are swordsmen. Their killing power is so terrifying. Some people widened their eyes and murmured, "The Heartless Sword God. That's the Heartless Sword God from our sky blue planet. I remember now. It's him. That's the sky-pointing sword god. He fought against 3 gods of the same level with 4 wisps of divine fire in our central region alone and killed them all. Those 3 are the 3 sword gods of the Azure Sky Forest. Their swordsmanship is heaven-defying, and each one is more terrifying than the last. Back then, our sect master personally came out to recruit them. Suddenly, exclamations sounded from all directions. When everyone heard these exclamations, their faces were filled with astonishment. Their gazes simultaneously turned towards the over 2,000 swordsmen. Cold, heartless, and cold. They stood there like divine swords, causing one's heart to palpitate. Divine Fox West Teapot. Wang Xian sat there. It was as if he didn't hear the roar of the eternal twin foxes and the shock around him. He held the head of a pirate captain from the space pirates in his hand. He checked the memories in his mind and spat out a name softly. He was bookkeeping. Chapter 2201. 2201 2201 Dragon Palace. Dragon King. 2. The sounds of shock and exclamations caused everyone to stare at the group of dragon guards and Wang Xian. Their eyes sparkled. In the past 3 years, the dragon guards had made quite a name for themselves in the central region. The titles of the God of Swords and their powerful sword techniques. At this moment, they were completely recognized. In addition, the Dragon Guards had killed 5,000 experts of the Starry Sky Pirates in just a few seconds, which made them extremely move. Everyone saw the heaven and earth change after the fall of the gods. A holy sword was facing the experts of the eternal twin foxes from afar, which made many people extremely shocked. Not only the life-killing sword god, is this the power of Princess Hu Yang-er's mysterious fiancé? So powerful. More than 80 godly state experts. This power is even stronger than the combined power of our divine tiger dynasty and the Hu Wen celestial race. All the disciples of the Hu Wen celestial race and the divine tiger dynasty were shocked when they saw this scene. Was this the mysterious background of that Wang Xian? Their expressions were a little ugly. However, even if he has such strength, he is still not worthy of our Princess Hu Yang-er. The faces of the disciples changed as they spoke in a gloomy tone. You are courting death. Do you really think that the eternal twin foxes wouldn't dare to do anything to you? In the sky above the eternal twin foxes in the middle, an expert at the peak of the godly state stared at Wang Xian with a cold expression. His face was filled with killing intent. Their eyes swept across Ao Jian, who was holding the holy divine sword above his head. Their expressions were extremely ugly. Not long ago, an expert at the peak of the godly state dared to be arrogant in front of them. If not for Princess Hu Yang-er, they would have killed her long ago. Even so, they were not prepared to let them off since they dared to kill people on the day their master took them in as his disciples. This, the expert of the eternal twin foxes, is angry. Hearing the angry roar of the expert at the peak of the godly state, everyone felt a chill in their hearts. Their expressions changed slightly as they watched quietly. Wang Xian raised his head and looked at that expert. A cold expression appeared on his face. How about killing a bunch of people who are courting death? He said indifferently. So what if he killed those who were courting death? Furthermore, Wang Xian didn't come here today to see the Master of God taking in a disciple. How about it? Wang Xian's arrogant words made all the disciples of the eternal twin foxes extremely furious. Arrogant fellow, kill him, kill him. No one dares to be arrogant in our eternal twin foxes. Some of the disciples couldn't help but stand up and shout with murderous intent. Everyone's expression changed instantly. The group of eternal twin foxes experts also stood up with extremely cold expressions. Princess Hu Yang-er is here. At this moment, a voice suddenly came from the entrant. Princess Hu Yang-er has arrived. Everyone focused their eyes and looked at the entrant. The expressions of the experts hovering above the eternal twin foxes changed, and they immediately returned to their seats. The godly state experts also immediately restrained their expressions. At the center of the entrance, Hu Yang slowly walked over from the center. She was dressed in luxurious clothes and held a divine weapon staff in her hand. Her entire person was emitting a holy light. Around her, Hu Fei, Hu Ji, and the core experts of the Hu Wen celestial race, the Tiger Emperor and Empress, were accompanying her. Behind her, there were a few peak-stage immortal realm elders of the eternal twin foxes. So beautiful. When everyone saw Hu Yang's face, their eyes revealed a look of amazement. However, when Hu Yang had just entered, she suddenly saw corpses one after another. She let out a low cry and her face turned slightly pale. What's going on? The expressions of the Tiger Emperor, Empress, Eternal Twin Fox, and a few other experts at the peak of the godly state changed slightly. Elder, it's them. An expert shouted with a gloomy face. Elder, it's them. A disciple of Eternal Twin Fox walked over immediately. He looked at Hu Yang and said to Wang Xian and the rest. The elder was slightly taken aback. Hu Yang immediately raised her head and looked over as well. Brother Wang Xian. When she saw Wang Xian, she was slightly taken aback. Then, a smile appeared on her face. However, when she saw the corpses beside Wang Xian, her expression changed again. She moved and wanted to walk towards Wang Xian. Yang just let them handle it. Everyone is watching. When the Empress saw that she wanted to go over, she immediately stretched out her hand to stop her and said, Empress, please let go. Hu Yang expression changed. Wang Xian's words from yesterday had reminded her of something. She frowned and said to the Empress. When the Empress heard her words, her expression changed slightly. She looked at Hu Fei at the side and gestured to her. Yang the time is almost up. Let's go over first. Hu Fei frowned and said to her, Father, I. Hu Yang looked hesitant when she heard her father's word. It's all right. Some people are courting death. Wang Xian looked at Hu Yang who was at the entrance. When he saw her troubled expression, he smiled and said to her, Tmem, it's good that brother Wang Xian is all right. Hu Yang turned her head and nodded with a smile. Then, she waved at him. Let's go. When the Empress saw this scene, she looked a little embarrassed. The current her did not dare to offend Hu Yang This Princess Hu Yang seems to have a good relationship with that young man. Princess Hu Yang seems to be very concerned about that young man. Are they really not engaged? When everyone around saw this scene, they were astonished. Their expressions changed as they looked at Wang Xian and the rest once again. When everyone from the Eternal Twin Foxes saw this scene, their expressions turned ugly. However, no one dared to say anything. Their master had said that Hu Yang would very likely inherit the entire Eternal Twin Foxes in the future. Who would dare to offend her? No one. Yang is here, come. A group of experts at the peak of the immortal realm from the Eternal Twin Foxes greeted Hu Yang with a smile. Hu Yang nodded with a smile and walked towards the center of the square. In the center of the square, there was a chair. In front of the chair, there was a blanket and a futon on the blanket. There were a few tables on the side with tea on them. This was the item needed to wait for the arrival of the Double Fox God Lord to hold the ceremony. Yang you wait here now. The God Lord will arrive on time. The group of Eternal Double Foxes experts said to her. Okay. Hu Yang nodded and stood in front of the futon. The fox-patterned celestial races Tiger Emperor and Empress who were around her immediately walked to the front and sat down. She stood in the middle. At this moment, everyone was looking at her. How beautiful. Some people couldn't help but praise her. Even the disciples of the Eternal Double Foxes were looking at Hu Yang who was standing in the middle with burning faces. Following that, some of the Eternal Twin Foxes disciples and the Divine Tiger Dynasty's fox-patterned celestial races disciples looked at Wang Xian and the rest who were standing at the entrance. Chen-ph. So what if you are a powerhouse who is at the peak of the godly state? So what if you have more than 80 underlings of the gods? You are not worthy. You are still not worthy. Compared to the Eternal Twin Foxes, you are nothing. Some people mumbled. Chapter 2202. 2202 2202 Dragon Palace, Dragon King. 3. In the middle of the square of the eternal twin foxes, Hu Yang stood there quietly, waiting for the arrival of the divine master of the twin foxes. Everyone's gaze was focused on her. At this moment, they had forgotten about what had just happened. When the people from the eternal twin foxes saw Hu Yang attitude, they did not bother about Wang Xian anymore. At the entrance, only Wang Xian and the dragon guards were sitting there. They looked exceptionally eye-catching. Wang Xian ordered the dragon guards to put away all the corpses and sat there waiting. Ever since Hu Yang arrived, the entire square gradually quieted down. Millions of people were waiting quietly. Buzz. A red and green light suddenly appeared in the void. The two rays of light emitted a comfortable radiance, as if purple clouds had come from the east for 100,000 li, illuminating the entire sky. A vast and holy figure slowly flew over from the center of the distant Twin Fox continent. It's here. Godmaster Twin Fox is here. When everyone saw the abnormal changes in the sky, they immediately raised their heads, and their faces revealed a reverent expression. Voila! The skirt in the hands of Godmaster Double Fox waved slightly, and she instantly appeared in the center of the square. She stood there quietly, and the entire world seemed to be centered around her. Greetings, Lord Godmaster. Everyone from the eternal Double Fox quickly stood up and shouted loudly. Greetings, Lord Godmaster Double Fox. Everyone around also immediately stood up and shouted loudly. Double Fox God Lord nodded her head faintly. Her gaze swept around her, and a satisfied expression appeared on her face. However, when she looked at the entrance, she raised her eyebrows slightly. Ha ha ha, Double Fox, who hasn't taken in a disciple for hundreds of thousands of years, is actually taking in a disciple with such great fanfare today. What kind of disciple is it that you like so much? At this moment, a loud laughter rang out. A middle-aged man dressed in earthen yellow clothes appeared at the entrance. His speed was very fast, like a ghost. When everyone looked over, they discovered that he was already sitting in a seat. The middle-aged man sized up Hu Yang in the arena. Oh! What a special physique, what a powerful wood attribute physique. No wonder you two foxes took him in as a disciple in such a grand manner. The middle-aged man who had just sat down narrowed his eyes slightly, stood up, and said with a face full of shock. Haha, 7-star, how about this disciple of mine? In the future, this disciple of mine has a very high chance of inheriting my mantle. Twin Fox God Lord looked at the 7-star God Lord who had just arrived, and said with a somewhat proud laugh, such a powerful physique, if I meet him, I will also take him in as an inheritance disciple. 7-star God Lord's figure moved and appeared directly on Hu Yang body. He sized her up with a face full of fervor. HMPH, 7-star, don't even think about getting any ideas. Double Fox God Lord stared coldly at him. I didn't expect that Double Fox's luck would be so good. 7-star God Lord looked at her with some envy. With a move of his palm, a wood god pearl that was emitting a powerful life force appeared in his hand. A peak god realm wood god pearl for the little girl. As he spoke, he waved his hand, and the wood god pearl floated in front of Hu Yang. Hiss, what a big deal. A peak god realm wood god pearl. What kind of constitution does Princess Hu Yang have? To think that even the 7-star God Lord is so moved and wants to take her as a disciple. The 7-star God Lord is so honest and generous. It seems that he has also taken a liking to Princess Hu Yang's talent. When everyone around saw the two Master Gods appear and 7-star Master God's grand gesture, they were all incomparably amazed. They were even more amazed by Hu Yang's talent. Hihi, my luck has always been better, Double Fox Master God said happily. Then today, congratulations on finding an heir. Do you want to marry our outstanding eternal 7-star disciples? Our eternal 7-star disciples can marry into the family. 7-star God Lord smiled and said to Twin Fox God Lord, ChempH, don't even think about it. Twin Fox God Lord directly refuse. Haha, then I won't join in the fun. 7-star God Lord laughed loudly. He had never thought that the other party would agree. Twin Fox God Lord's disciple's physique truly made him exclaim in admiration. He had given away such a treasure to form a good relationship. After saying that, he moved and left. Marry in. This 7-star God Master actually wants to marry in. A 7-star outstanding disciple wants to marry in. Even the 7-star God Master wants to marry in. This. Hearing the 7-star God Master's words, everyone's hearts were even more shocked. They looked at the young man at the entrance, whether intentionally or not. Congratulations to God Master Twin Fox for accepting such a good disciple. Before we take her as our master, allow our heavenly brilliant God dynasty to give Princess Hu Yang a gift. At this moment, a peak deity realm expert walked over respectfully with a treasure in his hand. Congratulations to Double Fox Divine Master for accepting a disciple. The Light Wind Sword Divine Sect has presented a gift to Princess Hu Yang. Congratulations to Double Fox Divine Master for accepting a beloved disciple. The Dragon Source Divine Sect has presented a gift to Princess Hu Yang. Some factions stepped forward to present the gift. Upon seeing Double Fox Divine Master nodding his head with a smile, the rest of the faction's experts hurriedly stepped forward and respectfully walked up to the precious divine item. Every treasure was worth a lot, and it could cause a fight between God Realm expert. Thank you, everyone. Hu Yang saw the forces coming over to give gifts. She looked at the Double Fox God Lord and nodded. Then, she hurriedly took the gifts and thanked them. The powerful forces rushed over with respectful faces. This made all the members of the Central Foxvein God clan look proud. Hu Yang was the disciple of the foxes. It was the glory of the foxes. The dozens of forces that came forward one by one. Wang Xian looked at Hu Yang who was in the middle of the scene. He saw that almost all the forces had already passed by. He stood up slowly. There were some matters that needed to be resolved before Hu Yang became her master. He walked down from his seat and the members of the Dragon Palace immediately followed behind him. Hey! The Eternal Twin Foxes were slightly stunned when they saw Wang Xian walking over from the opposite seat. They were even more astonished when they saw the group of dragon guards behind him. Young Master Wang Xian, we know that your faction is very powerful. You don't need to bring your subordinates here to deliver gift. After all, your little faction is only SOSO. I wonder what gift young Master Wang Xian is sending Yang. When the Empress of the Divine Tiger Empire saw Wang Xian walking over with a group of people, her expression was a little ugly as she spoke sarcastically. Just now, when she learned that Wang Xian had such a powerful subordinate, she was extremely shocked. However, she was still very displeased with him. Was the faction under him very powerful? However, it was only SOSO. At the very least, the Divine Tiger Empire might not be as strong as the Godly State experts, but their overall strength was much stronger. I have 3 things that I want an answer from the Master of Double Foxes. After these 3 things, I will naturally send you a congratulatory gift. Wang Xian led the members of the Dragon Guard to the center of the square and stopped 3 kilometers away. His gaze swept across everyone in the Double Foxes and landed on the Master of Double Foxes. It was time to pay back the debt. Chapter 2203. 2203 2203 Dragon Palace. Dragon King. 4a. What is he trying to do? Is he questioning the Master of Double Fox? When everyone saw Wang Xian leading his subordinates to the scene and asking the Master of Double Fox 3 questions, the expressions of everyone around changed slightly. Leading his subordinates to ask the Master of Double Fox 3 questions, this scene seemed to have some ill intention. Impudent. Be careful when you speak to our Master of God. An eternal Double Fox expert at the peak of the godly state shouted sternly with a cold expression on his face. Wang Xian, bring your men down quickly. When the Tiger Emperor saw that he had offended him, he roared with a gloomy face. He. Wang Xian stood there without saying a word. He did not even look at them. He stared at the Double Fox Master of God with a calm expression. Brother Wang Xian. Hu Yang looked at her and called out softly with a face full of doubt. You are very courageous and have some ability. However, you are still lacking if you want to match up to my disciple. I will give you a chance to say 3 sentences. Speak. The Double Fox deity looked at Wang Xian and waved his hand slightly as he spoke indifferently. At the side, Hu Yang'er frowned slightly when she heard the words of the double fox deity. Her eyes were flickering. When Wang Xian heard the words of the double fox deity, he couldn't help but smile contemptuously. He moved his palm and a corpse floated in front of him. With a wave of his arm, he threw it directly in front of the double fox deity. First thing, why did this disciple of the eternal double fox find an assassin to kill me? Wang Xian placed his hands behind his back and asked indifferently. What? Hiss, what's going on? Everyone's expression changed drastically when they saw Wang Xian suddenly throwing out a corpse. At the back, many people from the eternal twin foxes stood up and stared at the corpse. It's the cry of the divine fox. It's the cry of the divine fox. Some disciples recognized the cry of the divine fox and exclaimed in shock. The cry of the divine fox is actually dead. Is this what you call it? An expert at the peak of the godly state had a gloomy expression as he stared at Wang Xian and shouted in a stern voice. Everyone in the surroundings stared at Wang Xian in shock. What was he doing here? He threw out the corpse of a disciple of the eternal twin foxes. Was he here to provoke him? Was he here to court death? Behind him, Divine Fox Knight stared at Divine Fox Ming's corpse as his body trembled slightly. He wants to find an assassin to kill me. Why would I spare him? I haven't finished the first thing. Divine Fox Knight, he is following your orders to find an assassin. Wang Xian ignored the cold expression of the eternal double fox expert and continued to speak indifferently. He turned his gaze towards the position of the Divine Fox Knight. His eyes were extremely cold. You are slandering me. You are slandering me. You killed the disciple of our eternal double fox and you still dare to frame me. You're courting death. You're courting death. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, the Divine Fox Knight was enraged. She roared at Wang Xian with a ferocious expression. You're slandering me. You're slandering our eternal twin fox's disciple. You'll have to pay the price. The group of eternal twin foxes experts stared at Wang Xian with cold faces. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. Wang Xian, don't mess around here. Do you know the consequences? Don't seek your own death. When the divine tiger dynasties Hu Wen celestial race, the Tiger Empress and some of the experts from the Hu Wen celestial race saw this scene, their expressions changed slightly as they shouted sternly. After all, Wang Xian was still Hu Yang'er's fiancé. If he were to mess around like this, it would have a huge impact on Hu Yang'er. It also had some impact on the celestial dynasty and the celestial race. This made their faces extremely gloomy. They were filled with anger towards Wang Xian. Even the Tiger Emperor and the Empress were filled with killing intent. I'm warning you. If you don't have any evidence to falsely accuse us, the core disciples of the Eternal Twin Foxes, and the crime of killing our Eternal Twin Foxes disciples, regardless of your identity, we will definitely kill you today. Sitting in the middle of the Eternal Twin Foxes, the Great Elder stood up slowly. He waved his hand at the people beside him and shouted sternly. Boom! 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 In an instant, 6 experts at the peak of the godly state led dozens of godly state experts to fly over from their seats. They held weapons in their hands and locked their gazes on Wang Xian and the rest. Everyone's expression changed slightly when they saw this scene. This time, the Eternal Twin Foxes were completely enraged. Hu Yang'er's expression also changed slightly. She looked at Wang Xian anxiously. Evidence. The corner of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly. He stared at the group of experts from the Eternal Twin Foxes with a cold expression. If you want evidence, we can give you the dragon spike. At this moment, a black and white phantom slowly appeared around Wang Xian. Ao Yaro's figure appeared behind Wang Xian. With a wave of his arm, he threw a communication stone plate at them. He found our dragon spike to kill our dragon king. Hehe, how interesting. You dare to kill our king, die. A cold killing intent was emitted from Ao Yaro's mouth. He stared at the Eternal Twin Foxes and the rest of the powerhouses with a grim expression. Buzz. 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 As soon as he finished his sentence, numerous shadows flickered behind him. About 2,500 strange demons slowly appeared in front of everyone. What? Everyone in the surroundings was shocked when they saw the shadows appearing behind Wang Xian. How is this possible? Dragon Spike is the Dragon Assassin organization. That's right, it's them. The white shadows and the black and white shadows are the Dragon Assassin organization. Hiss, this. Dragon Assassin organization. They were famous 3 years ago. Ever since they established the Dragon Assassin organization, which had no defeats, that Wang Xian is actually the leader of the Dragon Assassin organization. Some of the powerhouses could not help but stand up. They stared at Ao Yarrow and the rest with solemn and shocked faces. The Dragon Assassin organization was the most famous assassin organization in the entire boundless starfield. They could kill all the experts below the peak of the God realm. Moreover, since the establishment of the Dragon Assassin Group, they had never failed a mission. The appearance of the Dragon Assassin Group had once made the big forces in the central area panic. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that this group was the king of the dark forces in the boundless star area. They had never thought that the Dragon Assassin Group was also that young man's subordinate. Just now, the appearance of the group of Dragon Guards had already shocked them. Now, such a terrifying and influential assassin group had appeared. How is this possible? He. The expressions of the Divine Tiger Dynasty and the Foxmark Divine race changed when they saw the strange demon appear. They stood up and widened their eyes, filled with disbelief. Even the Tiger Emperor and the Empress expressions changed drastically. Dragon Spike. This was the Dragon Spike. Even those forces that had peak deity realm experts did not dare to offend such an assassin organization. Bang! The communication stone plate fell to the ground with a crisp sound. It seemed to have smashed into the hearts of everyone from the Eternal Twin Foxes. The expressions of everyone from the Eternal Twin Foxes were extremely ugly. Even the Dragon Assassin organization had come out. The other party was basically able to produce enough evidence for this matter. When Divine Fox Knight saw this matter, her expression changed drastically, and a trace of fear appeared in her eyes. Chapter 2204. 2204 2204 Dragon Palace. Dragon King. 5. You're talking nonsense. You're framing people. The Dragon Assassin organization is your subordinate. Naturally, you'll do whatever you say. Divine Fox Knight stood there and saw many people looking at him. Some of the Eternal Twin Fox's disciples and experts were also looking at him. His expression changed drastically, and his heart was filled with horror as he roared ferociously. He could not admit it. He definitely could not admit it. His great-grandfather had warned him not to let anyone know that they were dealing with Hu Yang-er's fiancé. Otherwise, the Lord God might kill him for Hu Yang-er. Even if he did not kill him, he would be completely finished in the future. He could not admit it. Godly Fox Knight, you actually found an assassin organization to assassinate Brother Wang Xian. In the middle, Hu Yang-er stared at Godly Fox Knight with a face full of anger. Her expression was extremely cold. I didn't. It has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with me, Godly Fox Knight retorted loudly. Hee. Wang Xian looked at him with a faint smile on his face. He looked at the Dual Fox God. The Dual Fox God looked at her as well. There wasn't the slightest fluctuation on his face. The second thing, Wang Xian didn't reply to her immediately. He raised his head slightly and continued speaking. With a wave of his arm, a corpse appeared in front of him as well. Bam! Wang Xian casually threw the corpse onto the ground. What's going on now? When everyone around saw this scene, their expressions changed again. Oh no! When Divine Fox Howren saw this corpse, his expression changed drastically. Divine Fox Howren, do you recognize him? He is your subordinate. He came to assassinate my subordinate yesterday. The next time you send someone to kill me, make sure you know before you make your move. At this moment, when Divine Fox Howren heard Wang Xian's voice, his heart sank and he looked over. He stared at him with a mocking expression, causing his expression to be extremely awkward. At this moment, everyone around also looked at Divine Fox Howren. After seeing his expression, they could basically confirm it. Why did Divine Fox Knight and Divine Fox Howren want to kill Hu Yang-er's fiancé? Was it an order from the Eternal Twin Foxes? This is simply a huge face-smacking scene. The twin foxes' god lord recruited his disciple, but the eternal twin foxes killed the fiancé of the god lord's disciple. When everyone saw this scene, they started to discuss animatedly. Some of them looked at Wang Xian and felt a little sympathetic. Yang and that Wang Xian are not really engaged. When the Empress heard the discussions about the eternal twin foxes and saw the embarrassed expressions of the eternal twin foxes experts around her, she immediately said loudly, "That's right, this is a temporary measure." An expert from the fox-patterned race chimed in, "The third matter." Wang Xian swept a cold glance at the queen and the rest before landing on the body of the double fox god. He waved his arm again, and the corpses landed in front of the double fox god again. They are from the space pirates. Could it be that the space pirates are also instructed by someone? It should be. Although the space pirates are arrogant and despotic, they wouldn't go and find trouble with Hu Yang-er's fiancé for no reason. Some people said softly when they saw the corpses of the space pirates from earlier, "Godly fox Shihu." Wang Xian spat out 4 words softly and didn't say anything else. On the stage, Godly Fox Shihu's eyebrows twitched when he saw the space pirates' corpses. There wasn't the slightest fluctuation on his face. Words have no basis. He stared at Wang Xian coldly. "You should know some things yourself." Wang Xian said calmly as he looked at the double fox deity, "There are 3 things. I wonder if the double fox deity will give you an explanation?" She asked the double fox deity. "An explanation?" The double fox deity looked at Wang Xian as he swept his gaze across his subordinates behind him. Suddenly, he laughed mockingly. "Yang there might be some people in the eternal double fox who are insensible. I will handle this matter." She turned her head and ignored Wang Xian as she spoke to Hu Yang. She didn't put Wang Xian in her eyes at all. If she didn't consider Hu Yang-er's emotions, she would have killed him directly. The so-called 3 matters were a provocation and a joke in her eyes. "Master, you." Hu Yang-er's expression changed as she looked at Wang Xian. "Haha, Master Jewel Fox, does this mean that you are not going to give me an explanation?" Wang Xian saw that Hu Yang was ignoring him. He laughed out loud and asked coldly, "Boom." However, just as he finished his sentence, an extremely terrifying aura pressed down on Wang Xian. "Master, don't." Hu Yang-er's expression changed drastically as she immediately flew towards Wang Xian. "Timpit." The double fox god master's expression turned ugly. The aura around him dissipated. "Kid, do you know the price of provoking the god master? You asked me for an explanation. Do you have the qualifications to do so? Get out of the western region immediately. Don't ever let me see you again in the future. Otherwise." She stared at Wang Xian coldly and said in a cold tone, she wasn't threatening him. Although she was angry about the matter of the eternal twin foxes, this was their eternal twin foxes. They had to settle it themselves. A kid wanted her to give him an explanation. Even if he was the fiancé of her disciple, he would still be punished with death if he dared to provoke her. Hu Yang-er's expression changed slightly when she heard the words of the double fox god. She bit her lips tightly and stood in front of Wang Xian. Her face was filled with stubbornness. "Yang, come back. Yang, come here." The Empress and the Tiger Emperor's expression changed drastically when they saw this scene. Even Hu Fei and the rest stood up hurriedly and shouted at Hu Yang. At this moment, they also knew that the double fox celestial master was already angry. It has actually come to this point. It seems like Hu Yang really loves that young man. Everyone looked on quietly, their eyes shining brightly. "Ha ha! You want me to get out of the western region? Or what? Kill me? You are not the only god who wants to kill me, Wang Xian." What happened in the end? Wang Xian suddenly laughed maniacally when he heard the words of the double fox god. A strong sense of confidence emanated from him. "Double fox god, if you can give me a proper explanation today, I might let Yang take you as her master. Now, you don't have the qualifications to be her master. Furthermore, if you don't give me an explanation, I will ask for an explanation myself." Wang Xian stared at Master Jewel Fox wantonly with a frosty expression. An endless majestic aura emanated from his body. At the same time, the Divine Kingdom's Dragon Palace slowly emerged behind him. What is he trying to do? Me, the Dragon King? Everyone was filled with shock when they saw the endless power coming from Wang Xian and his divine kingdom. Roar, roar, roar. At this moment, an earth-shattering roar came from the dragon palace behind them. A black dragon soared into the sky as 9 divine wind dragons emerged from the dragon palace. All the members of the combat divisions of the dragon palace flew out from the dragon palace and landed behind Wang Xian. Dragon King offender, kill. A roar resounded in the sky. Dragon King offender, kill. Chapter 2205. 2205 2205 God Lord, listen to my command 1. Those who offend the Dragon King, kill. With a shout, the killing intent shook the sky. There were more than 50,000 powerhouses in the entire Dragon Palace. None of them were weaker than a demigod level 9. In the Dragon Palace, when Wang Xian left, there were more than 350 members with combat strength at the nerve level. Now, with the addition of the Dragon Spur Division and the Dragon Guards, the combat strength at the deity level had reached more than 500. There were 9 experts at the peak of the godly state. They stood neatly behind the Dragon King, exuding a cold and violent aura. In the sky, the dark blazing demonic dragon was circling around, exuding a terrifying pressure. At this moment, everyone looked at the group of experts behind Wang Xian in shock. Gulp. The sound of gulping could be heard clearly. Everyone stared at the group of experts from the Dragon Palace in astonishment. Ahem, this is the Dragon King? They are the Dragon Palace of the northern region. Hu Yang-er's fiancé is the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace of the northern region, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. An expert felt the terrifying pressure from the members of the Dragon Palace and roared in a low voice with a shocked face. His voice echoed throughout the sky. The Dragon Palace of the northern region, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. This was a legendary force for the entire boundless starfield. The rise of the Dragon Palace directly cost half of the northern region. The Eternal Thunder God Lord of the northern region personally went on an expedition and returned in defeat. The rise of the Dragon Palace in the entire northern region was an existence that could contend against a God Lord level force. Some time ago, the northern region's Thunder God Lord didn't hesitate to lower his status and sneak attack the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. In the end, the Dragon King was heavily injured and escaped. After that, the furious Dragon Palace attacked Eternal Thunder one after another, causing it to lose several planets. The Dragon Palace was said to be an existence that was almost comparable to the 5 Godlord level forces. Who would have thought that Hu Yang-er's fiancé was actually the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? An overlord level existence. A true existence that could make the entire boundless star field tremble with just a stomp of his foot. This is simply unbelievable. No wonder he dared to ask God Lord Double Fox 3 things. He dared to kill the eternal Double Fox disciple. It's because the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace has the qualifications and strength to do so. The people of the eternal Double Fox dared to send people to assassinate the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. This is simply courting death. This is a provocation to a powerful force. The people around looked at Wang Xian and mumbled in shock. They finally understood why Hu Yang-er's fiancé dared to face the eternal Double Fox Divine Master so arrogantly. He dared to demand an explanation from the Double Fox Divine Master without any scruples. That was because he was the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. These 4 words were enough. No, this isn't real. This isn't real. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Hu Yang-er actually saved the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace back then. Oh right, it seems like the Thunderclap Divine Master ambushed the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace in those few days. This. Everyone from the Divine Tiger Dynasty and the Fox Pattern Celestial race looked down and trembled. Especially the Tiger Emperor and the Empress, their faces instantly turned extremely pale. In the past few days, they didn't give Wang Xian a good look and even mocked him. They even berated him loudly just now. They recalled how they said that Wang Xian wasn't worthy of their Yang-er and that Wang Xian wasn't qualified. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace wasn't qualified? How? Hu Fei, Hu Ji, and the rest also had their mouths agape as they looked at the powerful overlord below. How could they have thought that this was one of the two overlords of the northern region? Brother Wang Xian. Hu Yang'er looked at the group of experts behind Wang Xian with a face full of shock. She had a dazed expression on her face. This was his mysterious background. Dragon Palace. In front of them, everyone in the Eternal Double Fox suddenly stood up and stared at the experts of the Dragon Palace with a solemn expression, especially the demon dragon in the sky, which was giving off a power that made them tremble. They had heard of this demon dragon before, and even the Thunder God Lord of the northern region couldn't do anything to it. Dragon Palace Dragon King. Double Fox God Lord's pupils constricted slightly, and her face was filled with a solemn expression. She didn't expect that the other party was actually the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. A young man who had threatened her earlier and had a disdainful look on his face was actually in existence who could contend against the Divine Master's forces. The atmosphere instantly turned solemn. Double Fox Divine Master, is it me, the Dragon King, who will make a move, or are you going to kill him? Wang Xian stared at the Double Fox Divine Master and said coldly, Master Celestial Master. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, everyone in the Eternal Double Fox clan looked extremely embarrassed. Especially Divine Fox Knight Divine Fox Hao Ran, Divine Fox Shi Hu, and the other two. A hint of fear appeared on their faces. No matter what, they never expected that the person they wanted to kill would be an overlord of a region. Divine Fox Shi Hu could not help but shout softly at her grandmother, Dragon King, you should know the reason why your Dragon Palace is able to fight against Eternal Thunderclap. Your demonic dragon is no match for the Divine Lord. You are still far from our Eternal Twin Foxes. In particular, if you dare to fight against our Eternal Twin Foxes, I think Eternal Thunderclap would be more than happy to come and kill you. The Divine Lord of Twin Foxes stared at Wang Xian and spoke with a cold expression. The two green and red tails behind her were raised high, showing her serious attitude. At this moment, she naturally could not hand over the disciple of the Eternal Twin Foxes. Putting aside the kinship between them, as long as she handed him over, others would think that the Eternal Twin Foxes were afraid of the Dragon Palace. Furthermore, even if she knew that he was from the Dragon Palace of the northern region, she was not afraid. The other party's strength was not stronger than the Eternal Twin Foxes. Yang come here. After she finished speaking, she said to Hu Yang I was just an ordinary disciple of the fox-patterned celestial race in the past. More than 10 days ago, I was only at the level of a demigod. It was Brother Wang Xian who raised me to the peak of the demigod realm. Furthermore, it was Brother Wang Xian who gave me the special fruit that allowed me to possess my current physique. Hu Yang bit her lips when she heard the words of the Double Fox God Lord. Her gaze was firm as she spoke. More than 10 days ago, she was just a slightly good-looking lady who had her engagement annulled. She knew that she did not have a strong physique, nor was she too talented. Everything was because of Brother Wang Xian. Otherwise, she would not have the strength that she had now and would not have been taken in as a disciple by the God Lord. What? Everyone's faces were filled with awe when they heard Hu Yang word. The eyes of everyone from the Hu Wen celestial race were also flickering. Their faces were filled with bewilderment and shock. Many of them knew a little about Hu Yang. She had been indifferent for decades. Everything had changed after she saved the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Her entire life had undergone a huge change. So all of this is because of the Dragon King, the overlord of a region. It's possible for a powerful divine object to change a person's talent. Some people murmured as they looked at the Eternal Twin Foxes with sarcasm. The Dragon King had improved the strength and vitality of his fiancée, and now the Eternal Twin Foxes wanted to take it away. Not only that, but they also wanted to kill the Dragon King. Chapter 2206. 2206 2206 Divine Master, listen up. What a joke. At this moment, the way everyone looked at the Eternal Twin Foxes changed. Damn it, no wonder the Dragon King said that the Double Fox Divine Master was not qualified to be Hu Yang master. The Eternal Twin Fox's disciples had assassinated him, but the Double Fox Divine Master did not care and made him Hu Yang master? How was this possible? When God Master Twin Foxes heard Hu Yang words, her face instantly turned extremely ugly. Her chest kept heaving up and down, and her face was filled with frost. Hu Yang-er's attitude had undoubtedly indicated that she would not acknowledge her as her master. She was the disciple of the God Master, but she had been rejected under the gaze of so many people. It could be imagined that after today, she would become the laughingstock of the entire endless starfield. The eternal twin foxes were herself. This time, she had lost a lot of face. "Dragon King," she growled in a low voice. Her eyes were filled with cold killing intent. "Interesting. You people from the eternal twin foxes want to kill me. If you don't give me an explanation now, do you still want to make a move, Divine Lord Twin Foxes?" Haha. Wang Xian laughed maniacally when he heard her word. "Since that's the case, let's make a move." Wang Xian waved his arm. His face was filled with a brutal expression. Boom. 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 In the next moment, all the members of the Dragon Palace behind him raised their weapons. A violent murderous aura shot into the void. Roar. 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 In the sky, the dark blazing demonic dragon fixed his gaze on the twin foxes. His cold dark pupils were filled with murderous aura. In an instant, waves of terror spread out in all directions. Oh no! The expressions of the major forces in the surrounding, western region, and central region changed drastically. They all hurriedly retreated to the rear. Their faces were filled with extreme fear. The strength of the Dragon Palace is so terrifying. There are at least 500 God Realm experts, and at least 9 of them are at the peak of the God Realm. Not all the experts of the Eternal Twin Foxes have arrived, but even so, they are no weaker than the Dragon Palace. If a fight breaks out, it will be a bloodbath. All the forces were shocked. If a fight broke out today, blood would flow for thousands of miles and the entire boundless starfield would be shocked. Hua! 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 All the people of the Eternal Twin Foxes were shocked when they saw the experts of the Dragon Palace ready to fight. Hundreds of thousands of Eternal Twin Foxes' disciples instantly stood up and weapons appeared in their hand. They also stared at all the members of the Dragon Palace with incomparable solemnity. "Dragon King, I'm warning you. Take your people and get out of here now. Otherwise, I'll destroy your Dragon Palace." God Master Twin Fox's gaze swept across all the members of the Dragon Palace as she roared with a face full of killing intent. She was not afraid of the Dragon Palace at all. In fact, as long as she contacted Eternal Thunderclap of the Northern region, the God of Thunderclap would definitely agree to join forces. When the time came, it would be a piece of cake to destroy the Dragon Palace. As expected of the God of Twin Foxes. "You are still so arrogant and confident." Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and stared at the God of Twin Foxes. His eyes were filled with coldness. "Think carefully. Don't infuriate me completely." The double fox deity and Wang Xian looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with coldness. If they were to really fight today, even if the eternal double fox were to win, they would definitely suffer heavy losses. It wasn't worth it to make a move. However, if they were forced to a certain extent, she wouldn't be afraid. As one of the overlords of the boundless galaxy, there was nothing to be afraid of. "In that case, aren't you going to give me an explanation for the assassination attempt by the Eternal Double Fox?" Wang Xian asked her calmly. "Explanation? Ha ha ha, Dragon King, to put it bluntly, your Dragon Palace is not worthy of an explanation from the Eternal Twin Foxes. If you dare to fight us to the death, you will be the ones who will be annihilated." The Divine Master of the Twin Foxes stared at Wang Xian with confidence. Although the Dragon Palace was very strong, there was still a gap between them and the Eternal Twin Foxes. Furthermore, the Eternal Thunderclap was their mortal enemy. If the Eternal Twin Foxes were to join forces with the Eternal Thunderclap, it was very likely that the Dragon Palace would be annihilated. In fact, it's already not bad that the Dragon King was able to make the Divine Lord of Twin Foxes do this. If they were to really fight, the best outcome would be for both sides to suffer heavy losses. But in the future, the Dragon Palace would definitely be at a disadvantage. The eyes of everyone in the surroundings flickered as they spoke in a low voice. A battle between two overlords, a battle between two overlords. They could only be bystanders and were not qualified to step in. "Are you not qualified?" Wang Xian stared coldly at the double fox god. The double fox god also raised his head and stared at Wang Xian. "Chen-ph, so what if you are the Dragon Palace? We, the eternal double fox, are not afraid of anyone." Behind them, a group of eternal double fox experts stared coldly at Wang Xian and shouted sternly. Wang Xian stood there indifferently and didn't say anything. The atmosphere was extremely solemn. Every second seemed unusually long. When everyone saw the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace standing there quietly, they were slightly surprised. A few minutes had passed, but why didn't the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace have any reaction? What was he doing? What was he thinking? "Dragon King, my patience is limited." When the double fox deity master saw Wang Xian standing there without saying a word, his face revealed his impatience. A staff appeared in his hand and his aura surged. Damn it, what? What is he trying to do? At this moment, the Tiger Emperor and Empress of the godly Tiger dynasty had extremely ugly expressions on their faces. When they saw the double fox deity master taking out his weapon, they were shocked. The outbreak of war would be a disastrous blow to them. This time, not only would they not be able to reap any benefits, they might even attract huge trouble. This made them extremely regretful. At the same time, they hated the Dragon King. Why didn't he reveal his identity earlier? Why did he make an enemy out of the eternal twin foxes? "I'm waiting for someone, but he's already here. Now, prepare to die." Wang Xian suddenly smiled faintly and said to the god of twin foxes, The double fox divine master was slightly stunned. A terrifying killing intent slowly shot out from her eyes. "You brought this upon yourself. Eternal double fox disciples, leave no one alive today." The double fox divine master let out a low growl and raised the divine staff in her hand. "Leave no one alive." All the eternal double fox experts let out a loud roar and gripped the weapons in their hands tightly. Boom, boom, boom. Just as they finished speaking, a mighty aura suddenly came from the east. Roar, roar, roar. Roars came one after another, and a terrifying pressure came crashing down from all directions. From afar, one could see ferocious creatures with 8 legs and 2 huge pincers flying over. Those terrifying creatures gave off a powerful aura, and there were more than 100,000 of them. In front of them was an incomparably huge, ferocious monster that gave off a terrifying aura. That's Lord Grim Dragon. It's Lord Grim Dragon from the central region. He's a new god lord. Why is he here? When everyone saw the huge figures flying over and saw the ferocious monster at the front, their faces were filled with shock. The newly promoted godlord in the central region was later known as the Grim Dragon Godlord. The announcement instantly spread throughout the boundless star field. His force was also known as the Grim Eternal Dragon, an existence that was even more powerful than the Dragon Palace. However, at this moment, some people suddenly remembered what the Dragon King had said just now. He was waiting for someone. Has he arrived? Hey! Everyone from the eternal twin foxes looked toward the void in the east with surprise in their eyes. With such a vast aura, with such a huge fanfare, that Lord Grim Dragon had brought all of his subordinates. Boom! Boom! All of the creatures from the eternal twin foxes covered a part of the sky. They stopped in the sky above the twin foxes' continent. Everyone raised their heads in astonishment. Wang, the figure of Lord Grim Dragon, who was giving off a terrifying aura at the very front, moved. He transformed into a human form and directly descended. Seeing another Lord God appear, everyone's faces were filled with confusion. Dragon Palace's AO Crab greets the Dragon King. Chapter 2207. 2207 2207 Divine Lord 3. Dragon Palace AO Crab pays respect to Dragon King. The disciple of Lord Grim Dragon flew over and shocked everyone. But at this moment, everyone was stunned. The invincible Lord Grim Dragon turned into a middle-aged man and landed in front of the Dragon King. Dragon Palace AO Crab pays respect to Dragon King. These 2 words shocked everyone. Everyone stood there stiffly, their eyes slowly widening in disbelief and shock. Everyone in the eternal double fox trembled as they looked at God Lord Long Zheng, who was kneeling in front of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Everyone's hearts were beating violently. The double fox expert who was ready to fight and destroy the entire dragon palace felt as if his neck was being held. My God, how could God Lord Longzheng be a member of the dragon palace? Ao Crab of the Dragon Palace. Ao Crab of the Dragon Palace. God Lord Longzheng is a disciple of the Dragon Palace and a subordinate of the Dragon King? Shock. Disbelief. Disbelief. A powerful new godlord in the central region, a force that could contend with a 7-star godlord, was actually a subordinate of the Dragon King. This God Lord Dragon ferocity. When God Lord Double Fox saw this scene, her face changed dramatically, and her expression slowly became ugly. A godlord, and the Dragon Palace actually had a godlord. A devil dragon that could contend with the Thunder Godlord, a true godlord. This force was almost comparable to 2 godlords against their eternal double fox. This caused her expression to change drastically. Ao Crab's arrival had completely changed the situation of the battle. He could even completely crush the entire eternal twin foxes. That was because Ao Crab was able to fight against the god-level twin foxes alone. As for the rest, there was no need for anyone else to make a move. A demonic dragon could wreak havoc on the entire eternal twin foxes. Listen up. Wang Xian looked at Ao Crab in front of him and shouted softly. Roar. Ao Crab immediately stood up and leaped into the air. He transformed into a terrifying devouring dragon. Listen to my orders. Ao Crab roared furiously. The miniature devouring dragon behind him immediately appeared behind him. They were emitting a terrifying murderous aura. Their eyes were fixed on the eternal twin foxes in front of them. Listen to my orders. The rest of the members of the Dragon Palace below also shouted loudly. Their faces were ice cold as they stared ahead. The battle was about to start. Dragon King, stop. Let's talk it out. Seeing this scene, the expression of the double fox godlord changed drastically and he hurriedly shouted. What? This? The eternal double fox has surrendered. Hiss, the double fox godlord has actually surrendered. This. The fierce dragon godlord is a member of the Dragon Palace, but he is the subordinate of the Dragon King. The gap between the eternal double fox and the Dragon Palace is too big now. Some people said in a daze when they saw Master Evil Dragon give in. Master Evil Dragon was so domineering that she didn't put the Dragon King in her eyes even when she was facing the Dragon Palace. But now, with Master Evil Dragon's arrival, a newly promoted master listened to the Dragon King and gave in. If she didn't give in, everyone could predict the outcome. In the entire Eternal Twin Foxes, Master Twin Foxes might be able to escape, but everyone else would have to die. The foundation of the Eternal Twin Foxes for hundreds of thousands of years had been destroyed in an instant. Hee. Wang Xian stared coldly at Master Twin Foxes. His face was filled with mockery. When she saw Wang Xian's expression, Master Twin Fox's facial expression kept changing. Buzz. She stretched out her arm and grabbed at the back of the Eternal Twin Foxes. Buzz. No, Lord God, please spare my life. Screams of pain rang out one after another. The Divine Fox Knight Divine Fox How Rant's body was directly grabbed over. At this moment, their faces were filled with fear as they shouted in despair. Bang! The Divine Fox Master gritted her teeth and stared at Wang Xian. Then, she waved her arm. The sounds of begging stopped abruptly. The two corpses were directly thrown in front of Wang Xian. Wang Xian looked at them indifferently. There was no change in his expression at all. He was still staring at the double fox celestial master expressionlessly. Dragon King, someone has harmed you. I, the double fox celestial master, will give you an explanation today. She gritted her teeth and waved the divine staff in her hand again. No, Grandma, don't. The divine fox Shihu's face was extremely pale. She shouted at the double fox celestial master with a face full of fear. He was the grandson of a god lord and possessed immense power. Even the emperor of a dynasty could not compare to him, but now, he was extremely terrified. He knew that his grandmother might want to kill him in order to extinguish the Dragon King's anger and to protect the rest of the eternal twin foxes. Bang! The double fox god lord did not show any mercy. With a heavy wave, the corpse of celestial fox Shihu landed in front of Wang Xian. The three of them were all turned into corpses. This was the explanation given by the double fox god lord to Wang Xian. Hiss, this is an apology. When the other factions around saw this scene, they were filled with shock. When everyone from the eternal double fox saw the three corpses, their eyes were filled with fear. They would never have thought that the eternal double fox would have such a day. It's over, it's over. At this moment, the Tiger Emperor and Empress of the Divine Tiger Dynasty, who were beside the eternal twin foxes, were trembling and their faces were pale. They had offended the Dragon King, so what would be the result? Even the grandson of the Divine Master of the Twin Foxes, the outstanding disciple of the eternal Twin Foxes, had been killed, so what did they count as? How can the Dragon Palace be so strong? Why is he the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? The Queen muttered in a low voice with a pale face. Her eyes were unfocused and she seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Dragon King, this time, it's our eternal Twin Fox's fault. I'll apologize to you personally. Seeing that Wang Xian was still staring at him calmly, the god of Twin Fox's expression changed as she spoke in a low voice. Don't you think it's a little too late? Wang Xian stared at her indifferently. Dragon King, don't push me too far. I admit that you can annihilate all of us, the eternal Twin Foxes. However, there's a 100% chance that you won't be able to keep me here. As long as I'm still alive, if I were to join forces with Eternal Thunderclap, your Dragon Palace won't have a good ending either. The god of Twin Foxes growled in a low voice with a stern expression. I'm sorry. I'm not afraid of threats the least. You didn't give me an explanation just now. It's too late now. Wang Xian stared at the god of Twin Foxes with slight disdain and said in a cold voice, Dragon King. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, the double fox celestial master roared with a mournful face. Her eyes turned extremely red in an instant. Prepare the members of the Dragon Palace. Leave no one alive. Wang Xian roared with a cold face. When he didn't have absolute power, the double fox celestial master didn't put him in her eyes. Now that Ao Crab had arrived, she had to admit defeat and beg him to forgive her. Was that possible? Furthermore, Wang Xian did not dare to guarantee that if he let them off this time, they would not join forces with Eternal Thunderclap. If he did not eradicate the root of the problem, he would have to pay the price. Boom! In an instant, his aura soared into the sky. The void changed color. The expressions of everyone around changed drastically. The Dragon King was about to make a move. Boom! 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 However, at this moment, a sudden change occurred. Chapter 2208. 2208 2208 Divine Master 4. Rumble. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just as all the members of the Dragon Palace were about to make their move, the eternal Twin Fox disciples' faces were filled with fear and despair. Suddenly, a vast voice came from the fallen immortal island's divine tomb. A grey, earthy yellow energy dyed the area within 100 million kilometers. The heaven and earth resonated in unison. The congratulatory voice of the heaven and earth resounded in everyone's mind. At this moment, everyone's facial expression changed. They quickly looked in the direction of the tomb of the fallen immortal god island with their mouths slightly agape. Even Wang Xian was attracted by this vast aura. His eyes were filled with shock when he swept his gaze over. This is. Someone has advanced to the realm of the Eternal Lord. He had a look of astonishment on his face as he mumbled. Dragon King, someone has advanced to the realm of the Eternal Lord. Aohe and the dark raging demonic dragon looked over and spoke to Wang Xian. The Lord has been born. The double fox Lord looked over and was also shocked. Recently, the Lord had been born frequently. The peaceful boundless galaxy had been broken. First, the rise of the Dragon Palace, then the birth of the ferocious Dragon Lord in the central region, and now, the birth of the Lord. All the heroes in the boundless galaxy have been divided. Someone must have obtained the inheritance of the divine tomb and advanced to a god lord, and the inheritance in the divine tomb has been obtained by someone else. Exclamations came from the surroundings, and everyone looked in the direction of the divine tomb in awe. Rumble. Ha 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 ha, lifting up the eternal divine kingdom, comprehending the god lord's law, and becoming a god lord. Hurry up and get out of my eternal divine kingdom. Don't disturb this God who is so high and mighty." At this moment, an even more powerful roar sounded. Everyone saw the island in the center of the fallen immortal God Island slowly rise into the sky. The earthen yellow sacred light shone for tens of millions of kilometers. An excited voice suddenly came from within. Whoosh! At this moment, a figure surrounded by wood attribute energy flew out from within. The figure stared at the eternal kingdom that was being lifted up, his expression somewhat ugly. That is the divine leaf god master of the eastern region. Could it be that he had a conflict with the newly promoted god master? When some people saw this scene, their faces were filled with astonishment. Wung wung wung. At this moment, in the sky, the main island of the fallen immortal God Island was suspended in the sky. Below the God Island, a figure that was over 10,000 meters tall stood between heaven and earth. The grey figure around him was like a towering divine mountain. Around him, a shield that was like a city wall was slowly rotating around him. What a terrifying aura! Everyone felt the terrifying aura of the giant, and their faces were filled with shock. That is. Suddenly, an elder from the forces near the eternal Double Foxes in the Double Foxes continent square suddenly widened his eyes and stared at the towering figure in the sky. Yes, that's right, that's right. The elder stared at the towering figure in the sky with excitement. His body trembled violently. Ha ha ha, it's Fei Yang. That's right, it's Fei Yang. He obtained the inheritance of a god lord, and he actually became a god lord. Our Chen clan is going to rise up, our celestial clan is going to rise up. An elder beside him stood up and roared with excitement. Around him, the faces of hundreds of clansmen were also flushed with excitement. They had never expected that their clansman's disciple would obtain the inheritance of the divine tomb and become an eternal god lord. Once he became a god lord, their clan would soar into the sky. What? It's the Chen clan? That Lord God Lord is a member of the Chen clan? All the forces around the plaza of the Twin Fox continent turned to look at the old man when they heard his word. Their faces were filled with envy. Hey! Everyone from the eternal Twin Fox clan also turned to look at the Chen clan. Lord God Lord, that Chen clan is a force of our western region. It belongs to a small clan affiliated to our eternal Twin Fox clan. At this moment, an expert at the peak of the eternal Twin Fox divine realm flew in front of God Lord Twin Fox and said with a face full of hope. As he spoke, he looked in the direction of the Dragon Palace. His eyes were filled with coldness. Oh! God Lord Twin Fox was slightly stunned. A glimmer of light and hope flashed in his eyes. Now that the eternal Twin Fox clan was in a desperate situation, if they did not have a powerful helper, their eternal Twin Fox clan would definitely bleed like a river. Friends of the Chen clan, let your celestial disciples help us, the eternal Twin Foxes. We will give you half of the western region. In addition, we, the eternal Twin Foxes, are willing to form an alliance with you and help you nurture your disciples. God Lord Twin Foxes immediately spoke to the Chen clan. Oh! This! Everyone from the Chen clan suddenly heard God Lord Twin Fox's words, and their eyes flashed with excitement. Give half of the western region to them. This was an incomparably terrifying amount of resources. It could allow their Chen clan to soar to the skies. Lord God Lord Twin Fox, we can't make this decision. We still need Fei Yang to personally decide. However, we will try our best to persuade him. After all, the western region is our home. The Chen clan's patriarch suppressed the excitement in his heart as he spoke. Even God Master Twin Fox called them friends. Rise, truly rise, and soar to the sky. Good. God Master Twin Fox's eyes also shone with hope. No matter what price he had to pay, he had to drag this newly promoted God Master into his camp. Otherwise, the entire Eternal Twin Fox would be doomed. As long as you drag him into your camp and combine with Eternal Thunderclap, even if you have two existences that can fight against God Master, we can still destroy you. Dragon Palace, just you wait. The face of the Master God of Twin Foxes was filled with a cold glint. The humiliation today could only be resolved by destroying the entire Dragon Palace. Dragon King, should we make a move? When everyone in the Dragon Palace heard the conversation from the Eternal Twin Foxes, they frowned slightly and asked immediately, No need. Wang Xian looked at the towering figure in the sky and revealed a faint smile. This fellow, could he be the chosen one of the boundless star field? The chosen one? He mumbled. Boom, 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 boom. At this moment, the earth-colored divine energy that covered a radius of billions of miles gushed towards the towering figure that was tens of thousands of meters tall. In just a short span of 10 seconds, the earth elemental energy was completely infused into his body. Boom! The eternal divine kingdom in the void released an intense divine light, shining brightly in the world. Ha ha ha, I am just a speck of dust, but the heavens want me to stand high above and look down on all living thing. Today, I am the eternal God-Lord, the title, Mountain. A vast voice resounded throughout the sky, representing the birth of an eternal God-Lord. Representing the birth of an overlord in the boundless star field. From then on, it stood high above, invincible in the boundless region. The title, Mountain God-Lord. Chapter 2209. 2209-2209 God-Lord, listen up. Mountain. Mountain God-Lord. The God-Lord was born. At this moment, millions of people on the fallen immortal God Island looked at the Mountain God-Lord in the sky. His towering body and powerful aura made him look like a god who could stand tall. He stood proudly in the sky. Everyone took a deep breath, and their faces were filled with reverence. Fei Yang. In the sky above the Twin Fox continent, everyone from the Chen clan revealed extremely excited expressions. Their bodies moved, and they immediately flew towards the towering figure in the sky. The mountain god-lord who was standing in the sky turned his head over, and a faint smile appeared on his face. His body shrunk, and an incomparably mystical earthen yellow shield surrounded him. Looking at the celestial race's people, he slightly raised his head and walked. Greetings, Lord Mountain God Lord. Some celestial race's disciples respectfully greeted Mountain God Lord. Father. He swept his gaze over and lightly nodded his head. Looking at his father and the others, a trace of a smile appeared on his face. Good, good. Fei Yang, God Lord, you actually became a God Lord. An old man quickly walked over, his face filled with excitement. Fei Yang, the eternal twin foxes have encountered some trouble. God Lord Twin Foxes said that if you help them get through this crisis, he will agree to give us half of the northern region. Also, help us nurture disciples and form an alliance with us. At this moment, the Chen clan's patriarch walked over and spoke to God Lord Mountain with a face full of enthusiasm. His face was full of anticipation. Oh, half of the western region? Mountain God Lord was slightly stunned, and his eyes were also shining. Yes, now the eternal twin foxes have provoked a powerful force. The other party has a God Lord, an existence that can contend against a God Lord. I reckon that as long as you appear, you might be able to resolve the eternal twin foxes crisis without even needing to act. When that time comes. The Chen clan's clan leader spoke with a face full of hope. Mountain God Lord, as long as you are willing to help us, the compensation that our eternal twin foxes have paid will definitely be to your satisfaction. On the eternal twin foxes continent's plaza, Twin Fox God Lord stared at him and spoke. Oh, is that so? He moved slightly and looked towards the plaza. This is. Suddenly, when he saw the figure standing in the square, his pupils contracted slightly. His face changed and he flew straight towards the direction of the Double Fox continent. Fei Yang has agreed. Seeing Fei Yang flying over, the chief of the Chen clan revealed an excited look. After today, the Chen clan would rule half of the western region and control nearly 100 life planet. Ha ha ha, everyone from the Dragon Palace, our eternal Chen clan used to be a subordinate force of the eternal twin foxes. Today, our eternal Chen clan's disciples have advanced to the God-Lord realm. Give us face for the eternal twin foxes. The Chen clan's patriarch followed closely behind Mountain God Lord and said with a loud laugh. Mountain God Lord, who was flying in front of them, paused for a moment. His face turned a little black and he almost cursed out loud. He sped up slightly. Eternal Dust Clan? There are disciples of the Chen clan who have reached the God Lord realm. They are indeed qualified to be called Eternal Dust Clan. They used to be a subordinate force of the eternal twin foxes. Are they going to join forces with the eternal twin foxes? It's very possible. After all, they are all forces of the Western region. And the eternal twin foxes have promised such a generous reward. Now, the eternal twin foxes are saved. If the Dragon King wants to destroy the eternal twin foxes' disciples, he'll have to think about it. When the surrounding forces saw the newly promoted mountain god lord flying over, they were all shocked. Their eyes flickered as they discuss. We're saved. We're saved. Once we join forces with the mountain god lord, we'll join forces with eternal thunderclap in the future. We'll make the dragon palace pay a heavy price. The disciples of the eternal twin foxes looked desperate just a moment ago. Now, they were extremely excited when they saw this scene. They would definitely make the mountain god lord pay 10 times the price for today's humiliation. Phew. Seeing the mountain god lord flying toward them, the twin foxes god lord also let out a slight sigh of relief. However, what happened next shocked everyone. The mountain deity master, who was flying towards the plaza of the double fox continent, headed straight for his seat. He landed in front of the dragon palace and in front of the dragon king. Chen Feiyang pays his respects to the Dragon King. Chen Feiyang landed in front of Wang Xian. His body was half kneeling and his face was filled with smiles. You are really the son of fate. Wang Xian looked at him and commented with a smile. That's because I have benefited from the Dragon King. Chen Feiyang stood up with a smile and stood at the side respectfully. Where's Mengxin? He asked Chen Feiyang. Mengxin is in the eternal divine kingdom. I have not mistreated her at all. Chen Feiyang said hurriedly. With a wave of his arm, a black hole appeared in front of him. Teacher. Liu Mengxin walked out from the black hole. She was slightly taken aback. When she saw Wang Xian, she immediately called out respectfully. Tmem, it's good that you're all right. It's time to go back and take a look. Wang Xian nodded and said to her. It's teacher. Feiyang has leveled up to the God Lord realm this time. I'll bring him back to see brother and master. Liu Mengxin immediately nodded her head. This. He was stunned. Completely stunned. Not just everyone around him, not just the eternal twin foxes. Even the Chen clan's patriarch, who had just said that he wanted the dragon palace to give him face, was stunned. At this moment, his face was full of cold sweat. What was he trying to do? Chen Feiyang, who had just advanced to the God Lord realm, actually bowed respectfully to the Dragon King and stood aside respectfully. He was obviously a little brother. His words just now were like asking his big brother to give his little brother some face. This. Fuck. This new God Lord actually has a relationship with the Dragon King, and it seems that this is a good little brother of the Dragon King. Oh my god, this is the second God Lord. Ao Crab is a member of the Dragon Palace, and now this mountain God Lord is also the Dragon King's little brother. Is this going to cut off the eternal twin fox's way of life? Now, with the power of the Dragon Palace, even if the eternal twin foxes and the eternal thunderclap were to join forces, they would not be a match for the Dragon Palace. The Dragon King is simply too terrifying. Shocked voices came from all around. At this moment, the eternal twin fox's disciples were completely confused. Now, they could not even tell north from south. How was this possible? At this moment, something strange happened again. A surprised voice came from the void and entered everyone's mind. Master Shinai. Some people realized that Master Shinai had appeared in the void without them knowing. This gave them a slight shock. Hey! Wang Xian sensed this voice and raised his head to look. Brother Shinai. He looked over and shouted in astonishment. Little brother Wang Xian, haha. The god of Shinai swept his shocked gaze across all his subordinates around Wang Xian and flew towards him with a loud laugh.